Own the Yankees. Let's talk about it right now on First Word.
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down the biggest moments and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
Welcome into First Word and happy Monday. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And as I mentioned, the Reds, well, they got it done in New York. Handle business against the New York Yankees, take 2 out of 3, win back-to-back series for the first time since we launched. Since April. So there you go. We were doing test shows in April. You weren't seeing us in April. Well, now you see us. And the Reds, well, they deliver in New York.
They certainly did. And I just want to point out, I was the lone member at the desk here who thought they would get the series win in New York.
Oh.
So
just keep patting yourself here.
Thank you so much. I earned that one.
Yeah, she certainly did. Look, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. As hard as it's been covering this team, following this team since May 1st, for them to go on the road, beating the Mets, whatever. Mets, not a big deal. Great that they got a series win, but fine. But going into this series, I was not confident. Why would you be confident? The starting rotation is a big reason why you would. And Andrew Abbott, Chase Burns get it done. The bats show up. They dominate on Saturday. Yesterday, Tyler Stevenson hits a big home run. We're going to hear from Tito and Tyler in just a minute. But it could be something. It may be nothing. Regardless, it was a fun weekend of baseball for the Reds.
Absolutely, and team wins. It's what we've talked about against the Mets, and it's what they need to do in order to get these wins because they don't have the rotation that was talked about before the season, at least not yet. The lineup's not healthy, and the bullpen's struggling right now, but over the weekend, they all came together. 10 runs on Saturday, the offense gets a win, and then turn around on Sunday, and the bullpen is absolutely nails after Chase Burns puts up a pretty good start again on the mound. So a great series for the Reds, starting what is probably the most important stretch of the season leading into the trade deadline and the real dog days of summer here with divisional games rolling. So getting some momentum before you get into this stretch of home games here against the division is crucial. Now, hopefully they can roll it into hopefully beating some of those divisional teams for the first time this year.
Yeah, that's going to be the big hope for this upcoming week. But as great as it was to see the bats come alive in this series, pitching was absolutely the key for me. Going against a New York team that in the last 10 games entering this series was 8-2 with over a 276 average and had outscored their opponents by 27 runs. The Reds, over those Saturday-Sunday games, holding them to this 3 runs and 15 combined hits. So really well done job by this pitching staff.
Yeah, great job by the pitching staff. If the Reds are going to get back in this, now 2.5 back in the wild card, well, it's going to be because of their starting rotation and this staff coming together, pitching better. They did that over the weekend. Here's Terry Francona after their 4-1 win on Sunday, getting that series victory over the Yankees.
What he did with it was so good. He sold out for a good fastball and whacked it, and God, that was so needed. I mean, it changed the whole game with one swing, and good for our pitching to make it hold up. You know what? I mean, he's got 96 after 5. Some of that's not Chase. Some of that's the Yankees. There's not a lot of Chase in that lineup. But I do think there are hitters that he's going to learn, get to the bottom of the order and I think he threw a 3-2 breaking ball to walk the 9. Those are things he'll learn that stuff as he goes, and he is now. But I mean, kept him off the board except for one. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lineup will do that to you too. That leadoff kid. I don't know how many guys in the league I've seen hit that ball off Chase. That's probably up above the strike zone at 98. That kid's pretty special. Well, somebody needed to go 2 today. I mean, the way when Chase came out after 5, we were going to give everybody a chance. And both lefties kind of ran their pitch count up where it wasn't going to work. So we brought Tony in early with the hopes that would happen, and he did a great job.
That's Terry Francona afterward. And Cincinnati state of mind. Shout out to Gabe for that one. That's a good idea. It's good vibes here on this Monday. And Terry Francona is so good at weathering the storms, the ups and downs, and all of those things and navigating it. And I did think about that after they won the series, like, yeah, this Reds team, they've been through a lot, all these injuries, all those things, and they mess around and go to New York and take 2 of 3 from the Yankees. It's a very Terry Francona managerial thing to have these guys in position to do that. That's why he's here, and a good job by him as well, certainly over the weekend.
Yeah, it would have been very easy, especially early in this season when they were the hottest team in baseball, to get big heads and start thinking big. Obviously, they didn't, and then they came crashing down, and it would be easy to hang your head and be down the whole time. And this Reds team's continued to fight. And whether it hasn't resulted in wins necessarily as much as we all would like over the last month or so, they've continued to go out there every single day and fought. And the bullpen has been ravaged by injuries, and it's put them in a really tough spot. And the rotation's been a revolving door for almost a full month now. But as this team continues to get healthy, they've done enough over the last month and a half to stay afloat. And that's really what the conversation was back when Ellie went down. Even at the beginning of the season, when Hunter and Lodolo were out of the rotation, it was how long can this team stay in the conversation until they get back to full strength. And they're getting close now, and picking up a win in series that you shouldn't, like wins over the Yankees, is how you continue to flip that bad month of May. So the Reds need to continue this kind of momentum over the next few weeks, but this is exactly what you need to see from this team to have any kind of belief rolling into the next month or so.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and especially the way Friday, kind of happened, and the fact that they struck out a season high 17 times in that tough 5-0 loss to the Yankees, and then coming out on Saturday exactly how they needed to come out with just a strong outing by Andrew Abbott. But the bats really in that one. I mean, Sal Stewart having the 2 doubles, a career high 6 ribbies, but Spencer Steer the 3-run home run. So it was great to see that one leave the park, and then of course on Sunday we get the huge 3-run bomb by Tyler Stevenson.
If we had taken Tissot's temperature Friday night after the 5-0 loss, it would have been, you'd have been like, they're getting swept. I guarantee. Seeing the result of that, I was high from on a high from the U.S. game, and then the Reds go out and do that. I guarantee you're like, at least the U.S. won.
Absolutely.
I didn't text you. I didn't know, but I was like, man, I did think about it.
You're 100% right. And then the vibes.
on my mind.
I appreciate that. But the vibes couldn't have shifted even further after Saturday's game, where Abbott looks great. Then you hear that Garrett Cole's not going to be on the mound Sunday.
Flip, yes.
Complete vibe change there. And then if we knew Garrett Cole wasn't pitching Sunday, maybe I would have agreed with Marisa that the Reds could get this series win. But a huge deal for the Reds that they miss Cole. Burns gives a great start, and they're able to get to the Yankees rookie pitcher and win a series that going into it, you had a real uphill battle against 2 aces.
Yeah, for sure. The Garrett Cole factor, huge. It changed things. Because now I'm like, oh, well, the Reds have a huge advantage on Sunday. And
Absolutely.
They used it.
And that was represented in the betting lines, too. The Reds were huge underdogs going into Sunday, and as soon as that was flipped, they were flipped to favorites against the Yankees, which for the Reds to be favored against the Yankees, it's a big shift.
No doubt about it. Tyler Stevenson, part of that big shift, had a 3-run home run on Sunday that helped guide the Reds to the series victory. Here's Tyler talking with Jim Day after the game.
My first at-bat, seeing him, and in that situation, just be aggressive. I know a heater's going to be coming, so just get the head out and, like you said, pull the ball. So was able to do that. Some really good at-bats leading up to it. And then, just all-around great team win. Burns threw great. Bullpen came in, did an unbelievable job. I mean, Tony threw 2 innings and, 15 pitches or something like that. Yeah. So, all around was great. And, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And hopefully my dad got your little message that I'm a better griller. Just be Chase Burns and just dare people to hit his stuff. I mean, it's truly is some of the most incredible stuff, like catching him last year in spring training and seeing it in person for the first time. It's legit and it's real. And it's scary because he's not a finished product yet. And you're starting to see the teams obviously try game planning and challenging him. And so he just has to be even more aggressive in the zone. And at the end of the day, I'll trust his stuff in the zone over anybody, whoever's hitting. I feel like he's been really good the past couple of weeks. Velocity, being able to the top of the zone, and just the command too with his breaking ball, being able to land it, and then being able to expand off of that. And he's been throwing really well. And this bullpen's done a great job, and I know we'll have some guys coming back here pretty soon. So we're in a good spot. Keep playing quality baseball. We got some big series coming up, and keep doing this thing.
Always nice when you have a guy like Tyler Stevenson doing what he did. And here's a look at the Friday game. And again, Friday temperature check for Tissot, no different for me. You get shut out against New York, and I'm like, man, this offense, these hitters, they got to figure it out. 3 strikeouts for Suarez. Rhett Lauder was okay. Not great, not bad, just okay. You give up the 2 home runs.
Yeah, thought it was going to get a lot worse after those 2 home runs in the second, but he was able to stay strong and only allow those 4 through over 5 innings. And then Abbott comes in on Saturday and does what he's been doing for the last month and a half or so. All-star Abbott, and I don't know about James, but
say it louder.
Maybe he's inching his way closer to that conversation. You get a couple pitcher opt-outs. His ERA is below 4 now. I don't know, but then the guy who will be an all-star, Chase Burns, does his job like he always does. Another outing with 5 innings pitched, another outing with under 2 runs allowed, a Reds record for most consecutive starts with that. And the Reds come within 3 games back of the wild card, just 2.5 now, and below double digits in the division. That's a lot prettier than it looked on Friday.
It is. It is much, much prettier. 2.5 and 9.5 feels better, but beating a good team.
Absolutely.
That's part of it here.
First
The
at bat,
wins,
seeing 'em.
they're not all equal. All wins aren't equal.
Right.
And it definitely felt like a big series win. Now, they have to build on it. We can dive into that. But it's still a big weekend.
Oh, it was a huge weekend. And also, love to see Blake Dunn in the leadoff spot getting a lot of production. He went 6 for 12 in this series. And over the last 7 games, batting over 400 with 5 runs.
Yeah, it's been great. And we just heard from Tyler Stevenson, who's been a big piece of this team over the last 5 or so years as well. And his best month of the season by far has been this last month. Over half of his home runs on the year have come within the last 30 games. And in the last 15 days, he's hitting over 320 with an OPS over 780. He's been the player that the Reds have been able to rely on offensively over the last about week or 2 weeks now of games. So that is a huge, huge piece for this lineup as they look to get Elly De La Cruz back in this series, continue to figure out that outfield a little bit with Noel Marte playing well. This is going in the right direction, at least offensively right now.
Are reinforcements on the way? You mentioned Elly. Is he going to be back for this Brewers series? We'll dive into that. We will dive into everything he missed all weekend long while you slept is next, right here on First Word.
Emotionally, spiritually, like I love football till the death of me. Like this is I don't say it's what I feel like it is what I'm called to do. But last year it was hard. It was extremely hard. Like it was days where, like I said, like I'm in the building at 6 a.m. drawing up plays, preparing for the Miami Dolphins because they have a really complex offense. I'm just like, dang, I cannot figure this out. Because like they do a lot of stuff with their fullbacks, and like I said, I've never seen a fullback in my life and up until last year. So last year was the hardest year of my life. But thinking about like where I am right now, it's like I said, it's night and day. But like I'm so confident because of what I went through last year, and like I would go home like last year. I'm just like, dang, like this is tough. But like I'm trying to be a leader. I'm obviously not trying to show that to the guys, like, because I love playing football. I love where I am. I love being in Cincinnati. I love the guys that I get to go to work with. But it was a long year, and I just try to show up every single day with the right mindset and be the leader that I was brought here to be. And but it was a tough year. But thinking about this year, oh my gosh, I literally. I have a smile on my face the whole time I'm in the building. Like, and that's gonna, I know it's easy to say in June, but I'm gonna have that until February. Truly, like, I'm so confident this year, so much more confident. So it's gonna be fun. Still have a long way to go, but we're trending in the right direction.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders. the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
First word rolls on a Monday where the Reds, what's a victory Monday here, handle business against the Yankees, taking 2 of 3 in the Bronx. And don't look now, but the Reds have won back-to-back series for the first time since April when we were talking NFL draft. Just to put a timeline on it.
I'm looking. I'm looking now.
Yeah?
You beat the Yankees in a weekend series when you haven't really done much to get me excited. Right after you beat the Mets to end
You
the
looking
series
close?
losing
You
streak.
got that magnifying glass out?
I'm looking.
The
2.5
telescope out? The
2.5
microscope
back, a
out?
wild card. 9.5 back of the division with 9 in a row against the division.
Binoculars? You're
All
looking.
of them. Monocle, the whole 9.
Everything? You're looking? You're
As
getting
many
up-
lenses as my hands can find.
Are you getting LASIK done Wednesday to make sure you have 20/10 vision?
If the Reds win Monday and Tuesday against the Brewers, absolutely.
There we go. Oh, you can't miss Wednesday. It's a big start.
After the show.
Yeah, after the show. No, I mean after the game Wednesday. It's a big one. It's a big game Wednesday too. It's even if they take the next 3. Regardless, feeling good here about the Reds. Let's dive into that and much, much more right now. And while you slept, and it starts with a Reds team that wins 2 out of 3. They're 37-39 on the season, following a 4-1 victory over the New York Yankees on Sunday. And I am pleasantly surprised. Friday night, I made fun of Jacob in the Tissot temperature check on Friday night and what he would have been feeling. But that 5-0 loss, I was like, all right, well, this is how it's going to go. Abbott and Burns, maybe you get 1 of 2. No, you get back-to-back. You take advantage of Garrett Cole being out on Sunday. Boom. Huge opportunity for the Reds, and they took advantage of it.
They certainly did. And Tissot's Temperature could be a new segment name
it
idea.
is.
I can tell it
absolutely
already
love
is.
it. But no, to your point, you have All-Star Abbott and then followed up
Just
with the
steam
crowning
coming
of
out
Chase
of your
Burns.
ears, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be you.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Red Hawk version.
And that's fair. And it's going to be above 50% the whole time during football season. But if the Reds continue to win like this, maybe they'll be able to push it down a little bit over the summer.
Yeah. No, it just a phenomenal way they were able to fight back after that rough outing. Friday night with your 2, should we dare say it, Ace Abbott?
All right.
All-Star Abbott. We'll say
Let's
All-Star
stick
Abbott.
with
We'll
All-Star.
say All-Star Abbott.
But it has been great for Abbott over the last
No
month
doubt.
or so. We were talking about it a lot before we got off the ground here about it. He is a huge piece of this rotation, and it's different when he's struggling versus the other guys that have been struggling this year because you need him to be a catalyst, at least the third arm in this rotation, and now he's back to being someone you're confident in every time he's on the mound. And right now with the injuries, the Reds don't have a lot of that in their rotation. But there's 2 guys now that you are confident every time they're on the mound that the Reds will at least be in striking distance of the game when they come out. It's Abbott and it's Burns, and they both took care of business over the weekend.
They did. And the Reds have 2 wins to show for it. They took advantage of it. It wasn't just the starting pitching. The hitting did their job. The bullpen did its job. And the Reds improved to 37-39 on the season. Here's Terry Francona after the win.
What he did with it was so good. He sold out for a good fastball and whacked it. And God, that was so needed. I mean, it changed the whole game with one swing, and good for our pitching to make it hold up. You know what? I mean, he's got 96 after 5. Some of that's not Chase. Some of that's the Yankees. There's not a lot of Chase in that lineup. But I do think there are hitters that he's going to learn, like, get to the bottom of the order and I think he threw a 3-2 breaking ball to walk the 9. Those are things he'll learn that stuff as he goes, and he is now. But I mean, kept him off the board except for one. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lineup will do that to you too. Like that, I mean, that leadoff kid. I don't know how many guys in the league I've seen hit that ball off chase. That's probably up above the strike zone at 98. That kid's pretty special. Well, somebody needed to go 2 today. I mean, the way when Chase came out after 5, we were going to give everybody a chance. And both lefties kind of ran their pitch count up where it wasn't going to work. So we brought Tony in early with the hopes that would happen, and he did a great job.
What's great is they had the pitching delivered, and Tony Santillan, you saw there delivered. But Saturday, things get started. Sal Stewart handles business and kind of set the tone, turn the tide a bit on Saturday early on after getting shut out on Friday.
It was a great outing to see by Sal Stewart there Saturday. 2 for 4, those 2 huge doubles. Ties a career-high 6 RBIs, now becoming just the 7th Red since 1920 to have multiple 6+ RBI games in a single season. He also is now tied for 4th fastest in NL history for a rookie to reach 50 RBI in a season, doing so in 75 games. Guys, the others on that list all ended up winning NL Rookie of the Year.
Incredible. And the most games with 6 RBIs in a season at age 22 or younger. He joins Yordan Alvarez, Jimmy Fox, and Mel Ott at 2. That's 3 Hall of Famers. He's going to be in a pretty good spot here. And as these numbers start to even out a little bit for Sal, he's hitting 250. He has 14 home runs. This is an incredibly sustainable stat line, I think, for Stewart. It was hard to really picture him sustaining a 290, 300 average that we thought through the first month. But what he's turned into now seems like a really replicatable version of who he is as a player. And the big thing for me is from May to June, he's added almost 2 miles per hour of bat speed. So a huge adjustment for Stewart at the plate. But since Marte's come back, he's been great in the outfield as well. A bat that the Reds need to be able to perform.
Yeah, the Reds need the lineup to perform. Sal Stewart did it. Tyler Stevenson. And Noelvi Marte has been, that was a huge run. It just took some pressure off of Tony Santillan, who had already pitched 1 inning. Going into that, I felt some of the pressure. It's 3-1. You're on the road. You're trying to get a series win against a really good lineup in the Yankees. And so for Santillan to pitch the way he did, huge. But to have an insurance run as well, it takes a bit of the pressure off with Noelvi Marte delivering in the clutch.
Oh, absolutely. And when you saw Santillan come in the 8th, or at least I was like a little hesitant. I was like, can he go 2 innings? Because it had been such a long time since he had a 2-inning outing like that in the save situation. But only needed 8 pitches for that 8th inning, so that helped a ton. And now you look, he has strung together a lot of really good quality starts. You have to go all the way back to June 3rd, the last time he gave up any type of run in an outing.
Yeah, 7 straight appearances now of not allowing a run. His first 11 of the year, not allowing a run. Now, if we just ignore the middle there, he's been awesome in this Reds bullpen. Now, hopefully, both those sample sizes are big enough that that's just who he is now that he's in the groove here. But other than that month in between, Santillan has been the most reliable arm for this Reds bullpen.
He really has. And they need it. They need that as Pagan and some of these other guys work their way back. And we'll dive into plenty of health updates with Pierce Johnson as well as they come. But the biggest one's Elly De La Cruz. And when's Elly coming back? And he had rehab starts over the weekend. He's making his way back from that hamstring injury. And it does feel like we're going to see Elly De La Cruz back with the club on Tuesday. Charlie Goldsmith had that's sort of the plan for the Reds. Probably won't know in the next 24 hours if they're going to actually acknowledge it, but it does sound like that Elly De La Cruz is going to be back. Here's the thing I do want to note. After his big return, 0 for 6.
Yeah.
So started 2 for 2, went 0 for 6. There you see his numbers: 2 for 8, a home run, had the 2 RBI, 3 strikeouts and a walk. I don't care. Get Elly here. But just mentioning his stats over the weekend in AAA.
No, absolutely, and worth mentioning for sure. It was a huge game on Friday night with the long home run right before the Reds started. I know I and a bunch of other Reds fans were a little bit upset that happened in Gwinnett and not New York, but the Reds were able to win the series without Elly, so it doesn't matter. And the biggest thing for me after this weekend is 7 innings at shortstop on Sunday. DH'd on Friday and Saturday. Going to play the field for that much of a game tells me that not only are they confident that Elly's close to healthy, if not already healthy, but he's confident that he can be out there doing that. So the fact that he got through all 3 games, did what they wanted him to do there, I would be pretty surprised if there was a setback kicking him out of this Brewers series. But he did look good for the hits that he had there. The other thing that I think does bear mentioning is an error on Sunday at shortstop. But I think a lot of that can just be marked down to getting back into the groove of playing competitive baseball. It's been a month now that he's almost just been running and only running for the last few weeks. So a lot of time just to get back in the groove of things, which is what these rehab starts are for. You're not really looking at the numbers. So excited to get Ellie back as soon as possible.
Exactly. Like you said, the biggest thing, just no setbacks. Don't necessarily care what the numbers are. Just getting back up here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's it. And great to see. Will be great to see. I think we will see it tomorrow, which Ellie, love it. Love every bit of it. If they can get him up. By the way, the Reds made one more move. They called up Julian Garcia, 31-year-old relief pitcher. Where was he ranked prospect-wise? There you go.
Yeah, not very high. He's 31 years old, but he's...
I knew you were going to bring up the age. I already said it. He was drafted in 2016.
Yeah, and he has a K per 9 approaching 14 there with an ERA around 3. So certainly numbers that are not like many in the Reds bullpen currently. Hopefully they can translate and he can add an interesting arm to the bullpen, but not sure what the move will be here to get him up. Maybe it's the end of the Chris Paddock era in Cincinnati. I'm not entirely sure what to expect here, but certainly great to have a new opportunity for someone to earn a role in that bullpen.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting moves that it's either going to pay off, I feel like, or blow up very quickly and you pull the plug within 7 minutes. Or maybe he delivers, and it's going to be one of those. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground here.
Now, either way, I'm willing to see new arms. So if you think they're ready in AAA, let's try them out, see if they can provide something to this team.
Yeah, for sure. As much as you can add to the bullpen, you do it. Obviously, help on the way at some point with Pagan and Johnson getting close to returning, Ellie returning. That's going to be the theme. Buckle up. Hunter Green, we don't have a ton more on him. He has multiple rehab starts coming, but who knows? Maybe he's back in early July. Let's continue with Man Oh Man. I mentioned it earlier in the show, but Team USA, the USA men, getting it done. I know a lot of the First Word crew, a lot of the Crown Network watched this together. Marisa and I skipped, but a lot of no, we skipped. But
we had other
got to watch it
obligations.
for sure. Yeah, look at you. No, we skipped. I didn't want to hang out with Jacob after the show.
It's true.
The good news is USA got it done. And I had a lot of fun watching on Friday. I just didn't want to watch it with you, but I had a lot of fun.
And look, I get that, but me and everyone else that works here had a blast watching the game, and it was a great environment. I think anytime you get a chance to watch a team that everyone in the given place is rooting for, it changes the vibes to a level that's really unattainable. First back-to-back World Cup wins for the U.S. in quite some time now, and locked up the group wins.
Look at that.
96 years.
Look at those 6 points, baby.
First time they've won their group now in the World Cup in 16 years, and just a phenomenal outing. Matt Freese with the clean sheet. This is U.S.'s now 8th World Cup shutout all time. Big reason why, obviously, we saw the goal scorers in this one, but Chris Richards had a 97.8 passes completed now, the second best accuracy by a player in their first 2 appearances on record since 1966. So he is playing just great soccer, and the fact that the U.S. was able to do this without Christian Pulisic, who is out because of that calf injury. Just a great team win, and now you can go into this final match of group play with not as much pressure on your backs, and the fact that they already have Group D wrapped up and are moving on. And the ability to sit Pulisic again is going to be absolutely huge. I would imagine he's not going to play Thursday with the group already locked up. That's what I hope not. There's been some reports saying they might try to get him out there
just
this
to
week.
Get the legs back under him.
We'll see what ends up happening.
Don't feel great about that.
Hey, Christian, run a couple laps. We'll get you at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It's like, all right, jog in place, and that's it. Because why risk it now? You have nothing to gain. You're already advancing, and it is a heck of a spot to be in. I'm like, it's in the bank. That's nice to say.
Soccer country.
Advancing. Some are saying.
Some are saying.
Yep, including us. Let's continue here with, talk about temperature checks. U.S. Open.
Oh, man.
Let me get $1.
Yeah.
Let me get $1.
I can now.
Yeah. Hey, he finished minus, so you owe me lunch.
That's right.
Wyndham Clark, Tissot's bank account went up a little bit because Wyndham Clark got it done. He held on to win the U.S. Open.
About as electric as a wire-to-wire championship round could be. Wyndham Clark leads from Thursday all the way through Sunday. Had a 6-stroke lead going into Sunday, but it got real close at the end at 1.4-3. Just a 1-stroke lead going into that last hole. Ended up holding on to win his second U.S. Open, his second major on his career, with just a year in between, winning at LACC and then at Shinnecock. 2 iconic courses. I think that's probably 2 of the best possible majors to win as your first 2. What a great start to his career for Wyndham Clark, and a great start to the weekend, or end of the weekend on Sunday for Jacob.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, it started rough Friday. I just left you hanging completely. Didn't want to hang out with you. The Reds lose 5-0. Team USA made up for it a bit, and then Wyndham Clark just delivers.
I think I was the only person in the world rooting for Wyndham Clark. Well, the Clark family, of course, but he hit a 60-foot putt on 15 to keep par, and right after Sam Burns made a birdie to cut it to 1, biggest shot of the tournament, and there was an audible sigh from the crowd, who was obviously rooting for Scottie Scheffler to complete the career Grand Slam. So Wyndham was fighting alone out there on Sunday, but I was back here in Cincinnati cheering him on.
Hi, I'm part of the crowd. I was watching Scottie all weekend. That's how I was following.
He got close. I was worried Saturday night.
He did. One of my favorite songs involves Scottie Scheffler. You know about that. I showed you that one. Jeffrey Simmons is a very, very rich man. It impacts the Bengals. We'll dive into that later in the show. But Jeffrey Simmons becomes the first NFL defensive tackle with $100 million guaranteed. He's 29 next month, had 2 years left on his deal. And the Titans committed to the former first-round pick $105 million over the next 3 years. Committed to your guy, Jeffrey Simmons.
Earned. I mean, we'll talk about how it affects the Bengals here in a bit, but Simmons is certainly one of the best interior D linemen in football and deserves every dollar that he's making here. He is a dominant player on that Titans defense and really the only bright spot on that roster over the last few years. So as they continue to build around the rookie or going down into his sophomore year, Cam Ward, Jeffrey Simmons getting locked up on the defensive side of things is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, it is. And I get it. I get the logic. They hired a defensive coach, and if you're not going to trade him, you got to
keep him.
It's very much, they did the opposite of what the Giants did with Dexter Lawrence,
right?
Which benefited the Bengals, which is where we'll get into one quick NBA note. The Heat and Celtics, well, they're hovering. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be traded at any moment. The NBA draft is tomorrow night, and Mark Stein had the latest here. One league source said that the Celtics emerged from the weekend with a real shot to win this race with a Jaylen Brown-centric offer, adding that Milwaukee has considered going ahead, even without a third team to facilitate the deal. We are going to see Giannis moved before the NBA draft. I'd be stunned if he's not moved, the next 36 hours.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope that somehow he ends up as a Cavalier, but it's not looking very likely here.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe Giannis is traded until Giannis is traded.
Really?
Like we've heard this for years now. It's 3 trade deadlines in a row. It's 2 off seasons in a row. Giannis will be moved. Giannis wants out of Milwaukee. I feel like I get 5 Shams tweets a day. Until that move is made, I'm not going to believe it, but this certainly feels as close as we've been in a long time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Giannis is going to get moved. We will certainly see. We'll have you covered there. But up next, we're going to talk 2 things. Bengals and Chase Burns. Is it time? We'll do that as First Word rolls on right here on The Crown.
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for the Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
What was your first impression when you got to meet Dex, and what has it been like getting to work with him now in practice?
Right, so him being a Clemson guy, the best school in the country, by the way. I met him a few years back. I remember he was just walking in the building, and I saw him. I was like, wow. Like, that was my first time seeing him. I was like, that's a large man, pause. But and then I was on the pickleball court when the news broke, and I remember I screamed. I hit a ball over the fence just out of excitement, and I was so happy because literally that day, my parents and I were talking about can we get Dex? And I was like, I mean, I don't know, anything can happen, but I wasn't too sure about it. So when I saw the news broke, I did not believe it. I ran around, I screamed, like I said, I hit a ball over the fence, and I was just like, let's do it. Like it's super exciting to see, them bring in a guy like that, like who Dex is. We know what he can do on the field. He's obviously elite. He's been doing great things since he stepped into the league, but who he is as a person, and oh my gosh, he's the best. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had in my life, and I've known him or played with him for 2 months. Like, it's truly a blessing to have him in front of me, pause again, but just to have a guy like that in the locker room. So it's been great with him.
What?
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Do the Bengals have a wide receiver 3 dilemma? Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Make sure you join us live on YouTube, where you can interact throughout the show. We're also live on X, on Facebook, and you can check us out wherever you get your podcast. But let's dive into this wide receiver 3 dilemma. And I do think that it's worth noting, hey, Mike Gesicki's part of that wide receiver 3 dilemma. They drafted Colby Young for a reason, because he's big, strong, physical, tough. Andre Yosevich is in the final year of his rookie contract. And so last week, I thought, hey, why not ask Joe Burrow about Andre Yosevich? He's got a great rapport with Yosevich. Obviously, Andre had a few drops last year that stood out in a lot of Bengals fans' brains. Now that Colby Young is in the building, Mike Gesicki's healthy. Is Andre Yosevich wide receiver 3? Well, I asked Joe Burrow about Andre and what he's done so far this offseason.
And Andre looks great this year. Andre looks unbelievable. He looks big, strong, fast. He made a couple really nice contested catches in the spring this year in our limited reps. That's a big area of emphasis for him, I know. So that was exciting to see, and he's going to continue to improve there. But he looks just like he's playing with so much confidence in his role, confidence in the offense and his ability.
It's no secret that Andre Yosevich, from a contested catch standpoint, some of those hands catches in general, it's something that he needs to improve at. I think it's interesting, though, how Joe describes him, how confident Andre is right now, the work he's putting in, the emphasis on getting better in some of his weaknesses or perceived weaknesses, certainly things he struggled with last year. I think it's also worth noting he didn't have Joe Burrow. And those role players in general are going to struggle more than the stars when you go to the backup. And so I don't want to overlook that. And I'm not knocking Jake Browning too much or Joe Flacco, but Andrei Iosivas was obviously hurt that Joe Burrow was out. It's just it. So let's play a little buy or sell here. Because Andrei Iosivas' contract year, it's a big year for him, and if he plays well, he's going to get paid elsewhere, or paid here, probably elsewhere. Mike Gesicki is a huge part of this offense, and Joe Burrow trusts him. We saw last week the one-handed catch in practice. Colby Young progressing as a rookie. Buy or sell, Marisa, let's start with you, that Andrei Iosivas is going to be wide receiver 3 for the Bengals this season.
I'm going to buy that he will start the season as wide receiver 3, and I'm not even going to put Mike Gesicki into this conversation. Obviously, he's so important to this offense. He's critical, but his position is listed as tight end. So I'm going to stick to just the receiving core for right now. Buying that Andrei will start the season as wide receiver 3. We just heard Joe Burrow. We know how Joe Burrow feels about him. He's reliable. He has that chemistry and rapport with him. However, the emergence of Colby Young, and once he starts working with Troy Walters, is in those rooms with Jamar and T, they're high on Colby Young, and there's a lot to like with the young receiver, and so it would not surprise me that by maybe November, early December, Young is the one that's really taking more of those reps, is on the field for a larger percentage of the time than Andrei is.
What better way to start off a Monday than a little agreement on this side of the desk? I don't think I could agree more with what Marisa just said about Andrei's role in this offense this year. I think the question about who has more production at the end of the year between Iosivas and Colby Young determines what point in the season that overlap or that switch happens at wide receiver 3. I do think Colby Young will seize that role at some point. I think they drafted him for a reason, and I think the ceiling is super, super high for Young. But as much as working with Jamar and T and Troy Walters will be part of getting Young up to that point, I think the chemistry with Joe Burrow is the biggest thing for me, because that's what we've seen really set apart these pass catchers in the Bengals offense. Mike Gesicki, when he got here, really took a step once him and Joe Burrow really started to mesh, and obviously that resulted in a contract extension for Gesicki. Iosivas has had a great relationship with Burrow, especially out of structure early in his career, and I think that's going to keep him on the field a lot early and still give him a role late. But I agree with Marisa. I think Colby Young will take that role eventually this season.
So I get on the surface why, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with you, and we should do a poll. This is not the poll question. Let's do this as a poll at some point. A lot of people are going to agree with that side of the desk. But what that's really saying, as much as you say Colby Young's emergence, it means Andrei's going to struggle. Because if Andrei just goes out there, starts the year week 1 and is good, Colby Young's not going to get a chance.
For sure.
And so I think that's the interesting thing, like when you look at it that way. So Andrei's going to have the same issues. I don't think so. I think, and I know you guys aren't saying that necessarily, but that's what would have to happen, because if he does his job, Colby Young will have a role probably, but it will be less of a role than wide receiver 3. And so I look at Andrei and his mindset and where he's going to be at, including his confidence. I think he's going to deliver. Now, if Joe Burrow gets hurt, all bets are off. Maybe the big, young rookie wide receiver. But I know that Joe trusts Andrei, and I think Andrei is going to deliver enough because he knows he's got to get paid. And his back isn't against the wall from a career standpoint. Like, he's going to be in the league for quite some time. But if he's going to sign a 3-year, $30 million contract next year, or whatever it would be, which is not out of the question. I don't think wide receivers get paid a lot of money these days. If he's going to sign that wherever, it comes with him being a 60 or 600-yard receiver, 550-yard receiver, and I think that is wide receiver 3. So I'm going to buy that he's wide receiver 3 and that he delivers, because the numbers weren't that far off. The Bengals' margin for error last year was minuscule. And we noticed his mistakes more because they had no margin for error on offense. I think he cleans up some of those mistakes. I think he's wide receiver 3.
I don't even know if I'm saying it so much. I don't expect Andrei to come out and struggle massively out of the gate. I just think Colby Young is going to play in some way, shape, or form. And I think he's just going to seize more of the opportunity when he's out there. You're going to see him. I think Colby Young's ceiling is higher right now. Would you?
I would agree.
Would you agree? Okay. So the fact that he has that higher ceiling, if you're seeing it more out of him, why not? And he's showing it, why not play him? I think that's where I'm coming from more so. And honestly, too, like with Andrei, obviously his numbers were down last year. The one that sticks out to me was the success percent rate down to a 44 from a 55 and a 60 his first 2 years in the league. Yeah. All it's going to take is just a couple of drops, a couple of minor mistakes here or there for that door to open. It's not saying that Andrei is not going to have a good season. He could still have a good year. I just think Colby Young is going to push the door open to the point where he's going to be like, you have to play him.
Well, what you said right there is the reason why I think Young will eventually pass Yoshivas, a couple of drops. And that's been the story really for the last 2 years. And like James said, when Burrow was out last year, it was more noticeable, but the same drop percentage as the year before and relatively similar to the year before that as well. 12 drops in 144 career targets. That's an issue at this point in your career. And obviously, if Yoshivas can turn it around, that's great because he's shown a huge piece of value to this team, especially in the red zone. But I think when you have that issue persisting over 3 consecutive seasons, there is a concern to just look somewhere else if that doesn't change right away. So I worry that Yoshivas will have to earn that spot as much of just having it sort of handed to him right away. And I just believe that Young, with that higher ceiling, can usurp it at some point.
I believe that Young could be a piece, right? So I'm prefacing it with that. The past 2 years, including last year, Andrei Iosivas had over 400 yards receiving. He has 12 career touchdowns. I look at these Colby Young stats. He's topped 400 yards once in college. And it was as a member of Miami. Yeah. Right? It was before he transferred to Georgia. I'm just...
For sure.
Like, I get the potentials there. I need to see a lot before I'm going to say, all right, well, this guy who doesn't have Joe Burrow's trust is going to get on the field in a game that matters and make an impact. And hopefully he does. Hopefully he's one of the other another piece that complements things, and they just have weapons all over. Like this offense, Joe will throw it 1,000 times a game. Literally, they will only throw the ball if it's just weapons galore, and he can just pick and choose where he wants to go. So I hope that happens. But Colby Young's never really been that productive ever, and so I need to see it.
I'm going to take it with his stats, his college stats with a grain of salt because he hasn't played with a quarterback like Joe in an offense like the Bengals that is so pass heavy. And you mentioned that season in Miami 2023, it was just in 12 games. His, yards per, reception is still each season of his college career, the lowest was 11.5. So, I mean, he's still getting good productions. It's just, I feel like it's really hard to kind of compare the two.
My thing with Young is I don't think he'll get 400 yards this year because I think Yoshivas will be the wide receiver 3 for the first 5 to 6 weeks of the season. So I think this will end up being around like a 300 to 250 range.
Week 7, Young is week 7.
That's what I think. Maybe earlier.
Oh my. Maybe earlier.
Yeah. I'm saying end of November, December.
I was expecting at least some Mitch Tinsley love, by the way. No one even mentioned that guy.
I still love Mitch Tinsley.
Yeah, I do too. But I get it. No one mentioned Charlie Jones either. It's just...
He gets his money returned.
Yeah.
Totally fair. It's totally fair. It's an interesting dilemma. I also think that Colby Young, the lack of production, the injury history, all of those things, this might be a 2027 impact more so than 2026. Maybe not, but if you're Andre, you better have that mindset. You gotta keep that physical freak away, stiff arm him, and make sure that you hold up that wide receiver 3.
Yeah, and maybe my timeline's off. Maybe our timeline's off, and that switch happens in the offseason this year. I envision that switch. Right.
Maybe he loses. Maybe that. If he's
that's just the pathway I see both of these guys going on, and when it happens, I think is anyone's best guess.
I think we can agree it's a great problem for the Bengals to have.
Absolutely.
I hope it is a problem.
Right.
To your point. Yeah, I hope Colby Young and Andrei Iosivas make it a problem by both going out there and being awesome. Up next, it is time for our What's the Word daily poll question right here on First Word.
So you've worked out so far for Charlotte, Sacramento, and Toronto, right? Those are the 3 you've done. So Charlotte, Sacramento, Toronto, take us through what a workout looks like, right? You post your jersey, post the practice jersey, you say another one, and you have the opportunity to go work out in front of those teams. But, what does that workout look like? What do these teams want to see out of you?
So basically like a day, just, a day going to a workout, leaving the hotel probably between 7 and 7:45 in the morning, get into the arena, eating breakfast, and then, you get measurements, you get testing, you go through the whole combine testing. And I feel like I was very disrespected not getting any combine invite. I felt like I was the only first team Big East guy to not get a combine invite, which I thought was crazy. Just add more fuel to the fire. Does that, okay. Like, I didn't need a reason, but you just gave me another reason to prove who I am. So I was like, all right, bet. So I have to go through combine testing every workout that I go to because, you know, I didn't have the numbers at the combine. So I have to do it every single time. And I just had to keep my body in like peak physical shape to, you know, improve my numbers each workout. So you go through the combine testing and then you go through like another warm up. And then each team is a little bit different in how they do their workouts. You know, with Charlotte, you did a lot more drills at the start. And then playing at Toronto, it was mostly just playing. Like you shot, like you're shooting and then you're playing. At the Kings, kind of like Charlotte, but it was less drills and a lot more playing. You know, you're playing out of like concepts. You know, you're playing with dribble limits, you know, 10-second shot clock, 5-second shot clock, you know, it's all these things. So every team is different, but it's mostly just they want to see like who you are as a person. You know, they want to see like, you know, are you really, you know, a dog? Like, even if you're not making shots, like they just want to see like the type of person you are, the type of player you are. Like, are you what the film says you are? And they just want to be either proved right or proved wrong.
Think it's too big of a deal?
I'm going to raise my hand. All right. Permission to speak. Did he or did he not get excited when Joe was putting that extra work in on Monday?
Oh, it was
great.
The happiest I think I've seen him like all week.
For 45 minutes of extra.
It was awesome.
Right now, you can just tell.
He could have put the normal amount of work in the next 2 days. Just if I'm looking at it for
If
argument's
Joe
sake,
wanted to throw the next 2 days, he would throw the next 2 days.
But he clearly wanted to throw more because he stayed after and threw.
And he did.
And he threw yesterday.
Joe wants to work.
He can throw.
I'm just saying.
I'm sure he will throw over the next 6
Do you think
weeks.
Joe really wanted to cancel minicamp early?
No, probably not. But I would imagine that he's fine with it, or it wouldn't have been canceled.
Oh, you think? I don't know about that. I don't think Zach's like, hey.
Not just. I just. This is a hard thing to not have a conversation with anyone on the team about, though, right?
Sure, like vibes-wise, we got everything we need to get done. That stuff.
That's what I mean.
Oh, sure. Not asking for permission.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was gonna say that didn't happen.
Please. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. But it's a collaborative conversation between the players that have been deemed the leaders of the team. I would hope that for any organization across any professional league, honestly, at this point, if you're giving these guys captain's patches on their jerseys, they should have meetings and conversations about this kind of stuff. So I would imagine that there was at least some kind of collaboration there to come to this conclusion, and
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here.
What's the word? Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11.
Always open.
Right here on The Crown. That is bam. Look at that. Come on, Jacob.
Take notes.
Let's go.
Notes taken.
That's that chemistry right there. Bam.
I failed chemistry.
Always.
I took it twice. Bad news.
Did you fail twice?
No, I took it twice. I failed once.
That's fair. Guess who didn't take it? Can't fail it if you don't take it. I actually think I took it.
You didn't? Yeah.
I had to
have
take it.
taken it
You
in
had
high
to
school.
take it, right?
Yeah.
Clearly don't remember it, but I definitely got a B or better.
There we go.
It's a B or better.
Sure.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. No doubt I did. I'm just saying.
Congrats, man.
I'm really excited.
Hang the banner.
Did the Reds get a B or better over the weekend?
An A.
Just making sure.
There we go.
The Reds get an A. And so let's dive into our poll question of the day right now. And it involves the Cincinnati Reds. What's your confidence level in the Reds following their series win over the New York Yankees? They've won 2 series in a row for the first time since April. And, well, 59.3% of you say that you need to see more, that your confidence level is somewhere in the 4 to 6 range on a 1 to 10 scale. 29.6% of you, 1 to 3, no confidence.
Wow.
5.7%, they're back. And 5.4% say, I believe 7 to 9 in the confidence scale. Where are you guys at?
So I feel like it's rare that I vote in my vote is the lowest percentage in the 7 to 9. I believe I'm struggling. I'm shocked it's that
believe?
low.
Oh,
I do
she
believe.
believes. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked at the 5% at both of those.
So I've been saying they've been dealing with injuries. Like, we know what this team can do. They showed it earlier in the season, and maybe now they're finally starting to get back. Do I think this is going to go be a 90, 100 win team? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I believe in this team, and I think they can stay in playoff contention and sneak in as a wild card at the end of the season.
I was shocked that there was 10% split between 10 and 7 to 9. I thought it would be all 4 to 6 and 1 to 3, but a lot of people have a lot of faith. I landed in the 4 to 6. When you beat a team like the Yankees, I'm going to get a little bit of confidence. But you're playing the division now, who you haven't beaten in a long, long time and haven't beaten much this year at all. Only 2 wins within the division this season so far. So I'm not going to believe until you win some of these divisional games. So turn it around, win some divisional games here, and I'll move up that list a little bit. But not a lot has changed for me since the weekend.
All right, so I picked these 1 to 3, 4 to 6. I'm like a 2 to 4.
Yeah, that's probably more fair.
But I tried to break it up so it was extremes and then there's a middle ground. But I'm like a 2 to 4. I'm confident-ish in them being a competent team potentially. But there's a lot of disclaimers there, and we're going to learn a lot about this team over the next week. So, verdict still very much out. If I had to put one number on it, I'd say like a 3.5 right now is where I would be. And that doesn't mean that it can't change. I believe in pieces of this team, but I don't believe in the full team right now because since May 1, it hasn't been fun. And I meant to rhyme, and we got to stay on time. So up next, we're going to talk Joe Burrow and, well, him embracing his new role inside the locker room. We'll hear from Joe next right here on First Wing. About us, and then First Word talked about him, and every national show that you can think of yesterday talked about Joe Burrow, and we're going to hear from all of them coming up in a second. But the power of Joe on full display this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the goal. And this is what changes when you have a quarterback like this and a team like the Bengals. You get talked about differently. And that's what the frustration's been over the last 3 years is that the Bengals should have been better and should have been striving for higher goals than they were in the last couple of years. And now there's a roster that matches that. And that's where a lot of the excitement comes from Joe and the rest of the locker room as well. Is I finally feel like, especially from the offensive side of the ball, they have a defense to match now. And they can go compete for a championship. And you can really feel the excitement. And it's not just Joe, even though his quotes are what we hold on to the most, probably. Everyone continually says how excited they are about this team, and I think we should all feel the same way.
We should, and when Joe Burrow speaks, everyone is listening. And I love how Joe said in his presser that he wants the Bengals to be in the conversation. He wants everyone talking about this team nationally. Much different kind of tone and feel that we heard out of Burrow this week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think when he says something that is a bit different, because you're right, he's a star quarterback. I don't think many star quarterbacks, even if they said what Joe said, make the news, the headlines that were made. The Bengals were the talk of the country yesterday, and it started with Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee Show talking.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones. Just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this grand adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name is Jack Crumley. I've been covering news in Cincinnati on the radio for the last 20 years. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but Cincinnati has always felt like home since day one. I've seen so many things accomplished here, and now, with the Working Lunch, I get to write, read, and talk about them every day. Hard-working people with a drive and a dream. Innovative ideas that help shape this city. Cincinnati is a great city, and I'm excited to tell you about it every day.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Welcome into First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot, Marisa Contipelli. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati. Catch us every single weekday, 7 to 11, live on YouTube, on RESN, streaming on X, Facebook, and of course you can check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Before we dive into a little Joe Burrow here, and that's where you can watch if you're looking there, do want to make sure that we shout out all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to everyone. Hopefully you guys had a great Father's Day on Sunday. I realized that coming in today. I was like, for Mother's Day, we definitely said have a happy Mother's Day. Totally forgot the fathers on Friday. So there we go.
That's on you.
I just said I forgot. I didn't say we. I said I.
It's your day.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. I hope you had a great Father's
Casey.
Day too, James.
Thank you.
With the kids.
It was great. It was great. And the Bengals are certainly hoping that it's a great season. Joe Burrow hoping that it's going to be a great season for him. They've went 24-27 over the past 3 years. And he's making a change, hoping that it gets the Bengals not only back to the playoffs, but back into Super Bowl contention, back to SoFi Stadium playing for Lombardi. One of the changes, vocal leadership. Joe Burrow, meaner, more vocal. Here's Joe on a big change he's making this offseason.
I think this offseason I've really focused on trying to bring urgency to the room and try to just get everybody to understand the level of urgency that we have this year, the level of play that is going to be required of every individual that steps foot on that field. So I've tried to communicate that. I've tried to be a little more vocal, maybe in a mean way. I think that's a little out of my comfort zone, but that's somewhere that I'm improving, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't know. We'll find out. But
you said a mean way?
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to bring urgency to every room that I step in, and try to foster an environment of improvement.
I think it's interesting because the urgency part of it, I want him to make sure that his teammates feel that. They should, because he feels it. Zach feels it. A lot of people in the building are playing or coaching for their next contract, their next job, their job here, whatever the case is. Joe Burrow obviously is focused on that Lombardi, and so everyone's going to have to play at a certain level. So I get that. I think other people are going to hear the meanness part of it. And let's start there. You're buying the Joe Burrow, and we're going to get into the actual buy or sell, but that he's going to be mean, Tom Brady-esque mean, and Brady certainly was mean at times. Peyton Manning, mean at times to teammates. Can Joe do that?
I think there's a fine line between mean and leadership in a locker room. And I would venture to say, obviously, I don't know, I'm not in Joe's head, but I would venture to say him saying mean there is for people to understand what he's getting at. And it's just harsh, loud leadership that's not really dancing around problems and just telling people when they're out of line or whatever it is that they need to change to be back in to whatever the game plan is. And I think that's something that's absolutely something that's necessary in Joe Burrow's career. I don't know how many things are left to point to that he needs to get better at, other than maybe health and vocal leadership. And it's great that he's sitting here talking about vocal leadership because there's nothing you can do health-wise other than, sit there and pray before the season. And I know the rest of us will. So as long as he's taking this step and continuing to look at how he can get better off the field, he's already maximized himself as a quarterback on the field to, about everything he can control. So this is just great to hear from me that he's continuing to look at how to get better and make himself an even better version of Joe Burrow.
Couldn't agree more. And maybe he could have used the word like direct instead of mean, because I have a hard time seeing Joe Burrow just going to be mean to his teammates. Yeah. That's just not really in his personality and who he is. But being direct and telling his guys how it is, not being afraid to, correct their mistakes or to give feedback or any of those kind of traits and qualities, that's exactly the type of leadership you do want out of your quarterback, out of your franchise star. So, yeah, to your point, Jacob, I think it's great that Joe's looking for different ways that he can improve his leadership, his game, impact the locker room in maybe a more heightened way this season. But honestly, Joe already has a lot of leadership and is so respected in that locker room. I don't know how much more he can do.
Yeah, I agree. It hovers around Joe, the whole building. And you feel it when you're in it. So it does. Here's the difference. I make all these Geno Stone missed tackle jokes. He should have been sent. Tom Brady would have sent him to the AFL. He would have invented a new league and sent him there. And I think that's what Joe probably means. It is mean. You need that in you. It needs to be Joe Brady, Joe Manning. Mahomes doesn't necessarily have that. He hasn't needed to because he has Andy Reid. And there's just a certain culture there, and it's worked. That isn't going to work here, clearly. And I think Joe would love to just show up, play football, lead by example, do those things. And I really think that's what Mahomes does for the most part in Kansas City. You don't have that luxury, Joe. You just don't. And so you need to be what Peyton Manning was for the Indianapolis Colts. And he changed the entire city. The Indianapolis Colts were not even close to what we think of them from a city in Indianapolis or an organization. Like Manning completely revamped it and made them something that they weren't prior. And so can Joe do that? Well, so far he has. He hasn't won a ring yet. But the next step is that vocal leadership, like if Orlando Brown Jr. misses a block on 3rd and 6 and they're making a comeback and it's a key part of the game, Joe has to be able to be like, man, what the bleep are you doing? And it's not just Orlando, it's anyone. I'm just using Orlando because I know he's going to have thick enough skin where I can make this example. But that's it. If Geno Stone misses a tackle, well, what are you doing? Now, that doesn't mean that Joe isn't going to mess up or that Joe needs to call everybody out all the time. But there are certain times when that standard needs to be set. And so I get it. We saw it with Brady. I always think back to the 28-3 comeback against the Falcons. He's yelling at his offensive line how they need to be tougher. And they faster, tougher, strong. He's just screaming on the sideline. And they come back, and it's the best comeback in NFL history and probably always will be. Like, that is pure will to do that and find a way. So, I'm not saying Joe needs to do that and guide that, but those leadership qualities, I hope now at this age, 30 in December, which I'll tell you, he has some of that. He's picked up some of that. And that may be a big difference between 24-year-old Joe Burrow that was going to a Super Bowl or on his way to a Super Bowl, turning 25, and this guy who's going to turn 30 at the end of this season. Let's dive into it, though, a little buy or sell. And the buy or sell is simple here. Buy or sell that Joe Burrow needs to be more of a vocal leader if the Bengals are going to win a Super Bowl. And so it's not win the division. It's not do any of buy or sell that he needs to be more vocal. We'll see your side of the desk. I haven't had time to write mine down, but let's see. You guys can both flip at the same time. Oh. All right, state your case.
I'm surprised by this. I thought I would be the only one.
Really?
Go for it.
I'm selling because he shouldn't have to be. They brought in Dexter Lawrence, Brian Cook, other leaders on the defensive side to be that voice on the defensive end.
Yeah.
It's not going to take away from Joe's voice in that locker room by any means. I just think Joe is already such a strong leader for this team, in this locker room. I really don't think there's much more that he really can do.
I think it'll help, absolutely, if Burrow takes a more vocal stance as a leader in the locker room. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I would have bought this hands down, no question. I think the Bengals adding the players you just mentioned there, Brian Cook, Dexter Lawrence, Jonathan Allen, to that defense to be more bigger leaders, and the progression of guys on the offensive side of the ball coming into their own, being leaders in and of themselves. themselves in the locker room, I think, is huge as well. This is great timing for Burrow to do this when there's other leaders in the locker room as well, to just take it to a different level in terms of the captains on this team. But there are other leaders now in the locker room that haven't been there over the last few years. So I think even the need and pressure on Burrow goes down a little bit, which maybe makes him feel a little bit more free to take this kind of growth approach towards his leadership in the offseason.
Man, it's unbelievable. It really is. Because, like, I buy this all day, every day, twice tomorrow, 15 times on the first Sunday in September when the Bengals certainly play their first game. Why? Because that's the blueprint. He does not get the luxury of being Mahomes, where you have Andy Reid, who is kind of the leader in that room, or they bring back Eric Bieniemy to be part of that vocal leadership on the coaching staff. Like, to me, Zach isn't like overly vocal rah-rah, and I don't think Joe is going to be overly vocal and rah-rah. But can he be the guy we saw in Tennessee a couple of years ago? And I love this. When he's losing his mind, and Zach's like, hey, it's okay, we won the game. And it was the ugliest game ever, where it was way sloppier than it should have been, and they had a bunch of false starts, and Joe just goes on the rant that he did on the sideline. That's it. By the way, the Bengals didn't lose another game after that, and they weren't a good football team. And so I do think him setting a standard, and when guys, the Geno Stones of the world, don't deliver on that standard, he's willing to call it out and hold himself accountable, and that's what Brady did. Or that's it. That's what it needs to be. That needs to be the standard, because if that's the case, then everybody's going to follow. Everyone's going to hold themselves to a certain level, and so I buy it. I think it's really, really hard to win a Super Bowl. Goes without saying. It's really, really hard to even get there and put yourself in position. I do think they have the talent to be in position. Now they need Joe to take the reins a bit more, and we will feel that. If that happens, that will result in more wins, more success this season, and potentially put them in position to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think I'm still selling, because I have seen that out of Burrow. I mean, you brought up Tennessee. That wasn't the only time he's done that on the sideline. And I get it. I was not in every meeting. I wasn't in as many of the practices, obviously, that these guys are at. But when interactions I saw on the bench over the course of, the last couple of seasons, like, he's done that. It hasn't really much been on the defensive side, and maybe that's to your point. Like, you have someone like a Geno Stone who's going to be missing tackles. Like, yeah, maybe that's, a time where you need to have that conversation. You need, to get into him a little bit. But I've definitely seen him do that. A lot of
I mean, Geno Stone just missed another tackle when Marisa was talking. It's unbelievable how many missed tackles he has.
High percentage rate. But I've seen him do it on the offensive side. So that's what I'm just saying. I just don't know how much more he realistically can.
You talk about the blueprint to winning championships. It's having a leadership quarterback, and you're absolutely right. And I think the pushback to that over the current era would be that the other elite quarterbacks aren't necessarily. We don't see a huge version of that from Josh or Lamar, or, like you said, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City because of Andy Reid.
One of those guys have won.
Let me finish. Only one of those guys has won a championship, and it's Patrick Mahomes, and he has that coach. So that's the thing about the other eras, is Brady, Manning, Breeze, all of these guys are those rah-rah vocal leaders in the huddle, in the locker room. I can think of clips from all of them during their seminal playoff runs, and we don't necessarily have that from Joe. So while I do think it's something that can push the Bengals over the edge and get them to win a Super Bowl, I also think trading pick 10 for Dexter Lawrence can push them over the edge. I think switching from Geno Stone to Brian Cook can push them over the edge. That's the only reason why I'm selling it as a need for the Bengals to win a Super Bowl. Now, does it make their road that much easier and make me believe a little bit more that they can do it? Absolutely. No question around it. But the fact that the Bengals got so far out of their organizational norms this offseason, I think it took a lot of the things that we've said they need to get back to a Super Bowl off the plate going into this year.
Totally get it. And I kind of view Joe as the guy who got to a Super Bowl so early, so unexpected, nearly gets back there the following year. And he's like, man, this is such a battle, such a climb up Everest to do it. And a lot of things need to go right. What can I do more of to give us a better chance?
Yeah.
And even if it's a 1% better chance, I think it makes them better. If he can do that well. And I think he will pick his spots and do all of those things. It's not like he's going to just scream at guys to scream at guys. But like the Lamar thing, that's very real. There's a reason why they stink in the playoffs. Yeah. And I think that leadership part is huge. Marisa, you were in the building for Raiders, Bengals going into that playoff game. I covered the team and was closer to the team when they were going on their 5 straight playoff runs from 2011 to 2015. And anytime there was a big game, you talk to people in the building, it felt much tighter. Not with Burrow. And so, like, he already sets that tone. Like if he can dial into that a little bit more, because it does feel, the building feels much different now than it did big games anywhere from 2011 to 2019. It just does, and it's just Joe. Like, that's part of it. That's what I mean. If he can feed into that a little bit more, I think it's going to matter.
So you're saying wanting it to feel like a little bit more tighter? Is it?
No. The
opposite.
He absolutely impacted it in that way right away. The moment he walks in the building, big game, it's like, oh, it was just like, yeah, this is just what we do. Part of it is from a leadership standpoint. If he's like, oh, well, this is our standard, then that's it. It kind of sets the tone in that way. That's what I mean. Like, he's obviously shifted things internally, and you can feel it. Just press down on the gas pedal a tad more. That's all.
Right. No, he absolutely brings that kind of like standard and feel. And yeah, the 2021 and 2022 seasons with those playoff runs, just, it felt business as usual. Like it didn't feel like there was like all this pressure, even though the games were so monumental. It was just like, yeah, this is like what we're going to do. This is what we're going to, go out and play like, because this is who this team is. This is the talent. And it all starts with Joe, and just that attitude and that mindset that he brings. It absolutely falls to the rest of his teammates.
Coming up in a bit, we have more Bengals talk. Of course, we have Chase Burns. Is it time to crown him? But Why You Slept is next, right here on First Word.
Cincinnati fans that are watching this, Jared Calhoun takes over the program for the Bearcats. A dynamic hire, somebody that has ties to the program. What are your thoughts on Cincinnati going back to the well, getting a Cincinnati guy, and how much he can change that program?
Well, I think he's changing it already. I expect Cincinnati basketball to be back on the map. I expect them to be an NCAA tournament program again. And you just look at what he's done in the transfer portal, going all over, bringing a couple of guys with him from Utah State that'll certainly be helpful. Going and getting Tyler Tejada from Towson. That guy is ready for the high major level. He's a 6'9" wing who can do it all, score at a number of levels. You go and you get Miles Colvin, who's a 6'5" guy who's been around the block, a couple of high major schools, but I think is a player and can really play. You look at their roster, and they did a nice job of identifying different guards who provide length and versatility. And when you hire Jared Calhoun, it instantly, I think, just changes the complexion of your program, because you get one of your guys, he gets the program, he understands the area, and he understands he's a grinder, man. He really is. You do it at Youngstown State, Utah State, you've got something cooking. And I think when you look at what they did with their roster, they did a really nice job. But I can't, to me, the Crosstown Shootout is about to have new life in Cincinnati.
Affects the whole game, and whenever you break the snap and you're going up to the ball, you have to see where 97 is. So that's a linebacker's dream, playing behind that. So I'm looking forward to taking the field with him and making a lot of plays with him and hitting the sexy dexy with him. I've been practicing. I still don't know how to do it, so it's gonna take a little more practice. But I'm excited just to take the field with him, and he's a great player, so I'm excited to line up with him for sure.
Don't feel bad. These guys are still trying to practice their sexy dexy. We had them doing drills in here a couple weeks ago. A lot of work needs to be done. You weren't too far off.
We're getting there. We're getting there, Pressure's on you, though.
Yeah.
You got plenty of eyeballs on you.
I tried in the mirror, and it just, I think it's so uncoordinated, and yeah, I got to work on it, but it'll come.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
First word rolls on a Monday where the Reds, what's a victory Monday here, handle business against the Yankees, taking 2 of 3 in the Bronx. And don't look now, but the Reds have won back-to-back series for the first time since April when we were talking NFL draft. Just to put a timeline on it.
I'm looking. I'm looking now.
Yeah.
You beat the Yankees in a weekend series when you haven't really done much to get me excited. Right after you beat the Mets to end the series losing streak.
You got that magnifying glass out?
I'm looking.
The telescope out, the microscope out.
Wild card, 9.5 back of the division with 9 in a row against the division.
Binoculars.
All of them. Monocle, the whole 9.
Everything. You're looking.
As many lenses as my hands can find.
Are you getting LASIK done Wednesday to make sure you have 20/10 vision?
If the Reds win Monday and Tuesday against the Brewers, absolutely.
There we go. Oh, you can't miss Wednesday. It's a big start.
After the show.
Yeah, after the show. No, I mean after the game Wednesday. It's a big one. It's a big game Wednesday too. It's even if they take the next 3. Regardless, feeling good here about the Reds. Let's dive into that and much, much more right now. And while you slept, and it starts with a Reds team that wins 2 out of 3. They're 37-39 on the season, following a 4-1 victory over the New York Yankees on Sunday. And I am pleasantly surprised. Friday night, I made fun of Jacob in the Tissot temperature check on Friday night and what he would have been feeling. But that 5-0 loss, I was like, all right, well, this is how it's going to go. Abbott and Burns, maybe you get 1 of 2. No, you get back-to-back. You take advantage of Garrett Cole being out on Sunday. Boom. Huge opportunity for the Reds, and they took advantage of it.
They certainly did. And Tissot's temperature could be a new segment name
it
idea.
Is. I can tell it already is.
But no, to your point, you have All-Star Abbott and then followed up
Just
with the
steam
crowning
coming
of
out
Chase
of your
Burns.
ears, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be you.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Red Hawk version.
And that's fair. And it's going to be above 50% the whole time during football season. But if the Reds continue to win like this, maybe they'll be able to push it down a little bit over the summer.
Yeah. No, it just a phenomenal way they were able to fight back after that rough outing. Friday night with your 2, should we dare say it, Ace Abbott?
All right.
All-Star Abbott.
All right.
We'll say All-Star
Let's stick
Abbott.
with All-Star.
We'll say All-Star Abbott.
But it has been great for Abbott over the last month or so. We were talking about it a lot before we got off the ground here about it. He is a huge piece of this rotation, and it's different when he's struggling versus the other guys that have been struggling this year because you need him to be a catalyst, at least the third arm in this rotation, and now he's back to being someone you're confident in every time he's on the mound. And right now with the injuries, the Reds don't have a lot of that in their rotation. But there's 2 guys now that you are confident every time they're on the mound that the Reds will at least be in striking distance of the game when they come out. It's Abbott and it's Burns, and they both took care of business over the weekend.
They did. And the Reds have 2 wins to show for it. They took advantage of it. It wasn't just the starting pitching. The hitting did their job. The bullpen did its job. And the Reds improved to 37-39 on the season. Here's Terry Francona after the win.
What he did with it was so good. He sold out for a good fastball and whacked it. And, God, that was so needed. I mean, it changed the whole game with one swing, and good for our pitching to make it hold up. You know what? I mean, he's got 96 after 5. Some of that's not Chase. Some of that's the Yankees. There's not a lot of Chase in that lineup. But I do think there are hitters that he's going to learn, you get to the bottom of the order, and I think he threw a 3-2 breaking ball to walk the 9. Those are things. He'll learn that stuff as he goes, and he is now. But, I mean, kept him off the board except for 1. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lineup will do that to you, too. That leadoff kid, I don't know how many guys in the league I've seen hit that ball off Chase. That's probably up above the strike zone at 98. That kid's pretty special. Well, somebody needed to go 2 today. I mean, the way when Chase came out after 5, we were going to give everybody a chance. And both lefties kind of ran their pitch count up where it wasn't going to work. So we brought Tony in early with the hopes that would happen, and he did a great job.
What's great is they had the pitching delivered, and Tony Santillan, you saw there delivered. But Saturday, things get started. Sal Stewart handles business and kind of set the tone, turned the tide a bit on Saturday early on after getting shut out on Friday.
It was a great outing to see by Sal Stewart there Saturday. 2 for 4 with those 2 huge doubles. ties a career-high 6 RBIs, now becoming just the 7th Red since 1920 to have multiple 6-plus RBI games in a single season. He also is now tied for 4th fastest in NL history for a rookie to reach 50 RBI in a season, doing so in 75 games. Guys, the others on that list all ended up winning NL Rookie of the Year.
Incredible. And the most games with 6 RBIs in a season at age 22 or younger. He joins Yordan Alvarez, Jimmy Fox, and Mel Ott at 2. That's 3 Hall of Famers. He's going to be in a pretty good spot here. And as these numbers start to even out a little bit for Sal, he's hitting 250. He has 14 home runs. This is an incredibly sustainable stat line, I think, for Stewart. It was hard to really picture him sustaining a 290, 300 average that we thought through the first month. But what he's turned into now seems like a really replicatable version of who he is as a player. And the big thing for me is from May to June, he's added almost 2 miles per hour of bat speed. So a huge adjustment for Stewart at the plate. But since Marte's come back, he's been great in the outfield as well. A bat that the Reds need to be able to perform.
Yeah, the Reds need the lineup to perform. Sal Stewart did it. Tyler Stevenson. And Noelvi Marte has been, that was a huge run. It just took some pressure off of Tony Santillan, who had already pitched 1 inning. Going into that, I felt some of the pressure. It's 3-1. You're on the road. You're trying to get a series win against a really good lineup in the Yankees. And so for Santillan to pitch the way he did, huge. But to have an insurance run as well, it takes a bit of the pressure off with Noelvi Marte delivering in the clutch.
Oh, absolutely. And when you saw Santillan come in the 8th, or at least I was like a little hesitant. I was like, can he go 2 innings? Because it had been such a long time since he had a 2-inning outing like that in the save situation. But only needed 8 pitches for that 8th inning, so that helped a ton. And now you look, he has strung together a lot of really good quality starts. You have to go all the way back to June 3rd, the last time he gave up any type of run in an outing.
Yeah, 7 straight appearances now of not allowing a run. His first 11 of the year, not allowing a run. Now, if we just ignore the middle there, he's been awesome in this Reds bullpen. Now, hopefully, both those sample sizes are big enough that that's just who he is now that he's in the groove here. But other than that month in between, Santillan has been the most reliable arm for this Reds bullpen.
He really has. And they need it. They need that as Pagan and some of these other guys work their way back. And we'll dive into plenty of health updates with Pierce Johnson as well as they come. But the biggest one's Elly De La Cruz. And when's Elly coming back? And he had rehab starts over the weekend. He's making his way back from that hamstring injury. And it does feel like we're going to see Elly De La Cruz back with the club on Tuesday. Charlie Goldsmith had this, that's sort of the plan for the Reds. Probably won't know in the next 24 hours if they're going to actually acknowledge it, but it does sound like that Elly De La Cruz is going to be back. Here's the thing I do want to note. After his big return, 0 for 6.
Yeah.
So started 2 for 2, went 0 for 6. There you see his numbers: 2 for 8, a home run, had the 2 RBI, 3 strikeouts and a walk. I don't care. Get Elly here. But just mentioning his stats over the weekend in AAA.
No, absolutely, and worth mentioning for sure. It was a huge game on Friday night with the long home run right before the Reds started. I know I and a bunch of other Reds fans were a little bit upset that happened in Gwinnett and not New York, but the Reds were able to win the series without Elly, so it doesn't matter. And the biggest thing for me after this weekend is 7 innings at shortstop on Sunday. DH'd on Friday and Saturday. Going to play the field for that much of a game tells me that not only are they confident that Elly's close to healthy, if not already healthy, but he's confident that he can be out there doing that. So the fact that he got through all 3 games, did what they wanted him to do there, I would be pretty surprised if there was a setback kicking him out of this Brewers series. But he did look good for the hits that he had there. The other thing that I think does bear mentioning is an error on Sunday at shortstop. But I think a lot of that can just be marked down to getting back into the groove of playing competitive baseball. It's been a month now that he's almost just been running and only running for the last few weeks. So a lot of time just to get back in the groove of things, which is what these rehab starts are for. You're not really looking at the numbers. So excited to get Elly back as soon as possible.
Exactly. Like you said, the biggest thing, just no setbacks. Don't necessarily care what the numbers are. Just getting back up here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's it. And great to see. Will be great to see. I think we will see it tomorrow, which Elly, love it. Love every bit of it. If they can get him up. By the way, the Reds made one more move. They called up Julian Garcia, 31-year-old relief pitcher. Where was he ranked prospect-wise? There you go.
Yeah, not very high. He's 31 years old, but he's...
I knew you were going to bring up the age. I already said it. He was drafted in 2016.
Yeah, and he has a K per 9 approaching 14 there with an ERA around 3. So certainly numbers that are not like many in the Reds bullpen currently. Hopefully they can translate and he can add an interesting arm to the bullpen, but not sure what the move will be here to get him up. Maybe it's the end of the Chris Paddock era in Cincinnati. I'm not entirely sure what to expect here, but certainly great to have a new opportunity for someone to earn a role in that bullpen.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting moves that is either going to pay off, I feel like, or blow up very quickly and you pull the plug within 7 minutes. Or maybe he delivers, and it's going to be one of those. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground here.
Now, either way, I'm willing to see new arms. So if you think they're ready in AAA, let's try them out, see if they can provide something to this team.
Yeah, for sure. As much as you can add to the bullpen, you do it. Obviously, help on the way at some point with Pagan and Johnson getting close to returning, Ellie returning. That's going to be the theme. Buckle up. Hunter Green, we don't have a ton more on him. He has multiple rehab starts coming, but who knows? Maybe he's back in early July. Let's continue with Man Oh Man. I mentioned it earlier in the show, but Team USA, the USA men, getting it done. I know a lot of the First Word crew, a lot of the Crown Network watched this together. Marisa and I skipped, but a lot of no, we skipped. But
we had other
got to watch it
obligations.
for sure. Yeah, look at you. No, we skipped. I didn't want to hang out with Jacob after the show.
That's true.
The good news is USA got it done. And I had a lot of fun watching on Friday. I just didn't want to watch it with you, but I had a lot of fun.
And look, I get that, but me and everyone else that works here had a blast watching the game, and it was a great environment. I think anytime you get a chance to watch a team that everyone in the given place is rooting for, it changes the vibes to a level that's really unattainable. First back-to-back World Cup wins for the U.S. in quite some time now, and locked up the group wins.
Look at that.
96 years.
Look at those 6 points, baby.
First time they've won their group now in the World Cup in 16 years, and just a phenomenal outing. Matt Freese with the clean sheet. This is U.S.'s now 8th World Cup shutout all time. Big reason why, obviously, we saw the goal scorers in this one, but Chris Richards had a 97.8 passes completed now, the second best accuracy by a player in their first 2 appearances on record since 1966. So he is playing just great soccer, and the fact that the U.S. was able to do this without Christian Pulisic, who is out because of that calf injury. Just a great team win, and now you can go into this final match of group play with not as much pressure on your backs, and the fact that they already have Group D wrapped up and are moving on.
And the ability to sit Pulisic again is going to be absolutely huge. I would imagine he's not going to play with the group already locked up. That's what I hope not.
There's been some reports saying they might try to get him out there this week.
Get the legs back under him.
We'll see what ends up happening.
Don't feel great about that.
Hey, Christian, run a couple laps. We'll get you at the 10-minute mark. Like that's it. It's like, all right, jog in place, and that's it. Because why risk it now? You have nothing to gain. You're already advancing, and it is a heck of a spot to be in. I'm like, it's in the bank. That's nice to say.
Soccer country.
Advancing. Some are saying.
Some are saying.
Yep, including us. Let's continue here with, talk about temperature checks. U.S. Open.
Oh, man.
Let me get $1.
Yeah.
Let me get $1.
I can now.
Yeah. Hey, he finished minus, so you owe me lunch.
That's right.
Wyndham Clark, Tissot's bank account went up a little bit because Wyndham Clark got it done. He held on to win the U.S. Open.
About as electric as a wire-to-wire championship round could be. Wyndham Clark leads from Thursday all the way through Sunday. Had a 6-stroke lead going into Sunday, but it got real close at the end at 1.4-3. Just a 1-stroke lead going into that last hole. Ended up holding on to win his second U.S. Open, his second major on his career, with just a year in between, winning at LACC and then at Shinnecock. 2 iconic courses. I think that's probably 2 of the best possible majors to win as your first 2. What a great start to his career for Wyndham Clark, and a great start to the weekend, or end of the weekend on Sunday for Jacob.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, it started rough Friday. I just left you hanging completely. Didn't want to hang out with you. The Reds lose 5-0. Team USA made up for it a bit, and then Wyndham Clark just delivers.
I think I was the only person in the world rooting for Wyndham Clark. Well, the Clark family, of course, but he hit a 60-foot putt on 15 to keep par, and right after Sam Burns made a birdie to cut it to 1, biggest shot of the tournament. And there was an audible sigh from the crowd, who was obviously rooting for Scotty Scheffler to complete the career Grand Slam. So Wyndham was fighting alone out there on Sunday, but I was back here in Cincinnati cheering him on.
Hi, I'm part of the crowd. I was watching Scotty all weekend. That's how I was following.
He got close. I was worried Saturday night.
He did. One of my favorite songs involves Scotty Scheffler. You know about that. I showed you that one. Jeffrey Simmons is a very, very rich man. It impacts the Bengals. We'll dive into that later in the show. But Jeffrey Simmons becomes the first NFL defensive tackle with $100 million guaranteed. He's 29 next month, had 2 years left on his deal. And the Titans committed to the former first-round pick $105 million over the next 3 years. Committed to your guy, Jeffrey Simmons.
Earned. I mean, we'll talk about how it affects the Bengals here in a bit, but Simmons is certainly one of the best interior D linemen in football and deserves every dollar that he's making here. He is a dominant player on that Titans defense and really the only bright spot on that roster over the last few years. So as they continue to build around the rookie or going down into his sophomore year, Cam Ward, Jeffrey Simmons getting locked up on the defensive side of things is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, it is. And I get it. I get the logic. They hired a defensive coach, and if you're not going to trade him, you got to
keep him.
It's very much, they did the opposite of what the Giants did with Dexter Lawrence,
right?
Which benefited the Bengals, which is where we'll get into one quick NBA note. The Heat and Celtics, well, they're hovering. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be traded at any moment. The NBA draft is tomorrow night, and Mark Stein had the latest here. One league source said that the Celtics emerged from the weekend with a real shot to win this race with a Jaylen Brown-centric offer, adding that Milwaukee has considered going ahead, even without a third team to facilitate the deal. We are going to see Giannis moved before the NBA draft. I'd be stunned if he's not moved, the next 36 hours.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope that somehow he ends up as a Cavalier, but it's not looking very likely here.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe Giannis is traded until Giannis is traded. I feel
Really?
like we've heard this for years now. It's 3 trade deadlines in a row. It's 2 off seasons in a row. Giannis will be moved. Giannis wants out of Milwaukee. I feel like I get 5 Shams tweets a day. Until that move is made, I'm not going to believe it, but this certainly feels as close as we've been in a long time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Giannis is going to get moved. We will certainly see. We'll have you covered there. But up next, we're going to talk 2 things. Bengals and Chase Burns. Is it time? We'll do that as First Word rolls on right here on The Crown.
Let me ask you this, Trey. What kind of a coach, from your perspective, is Richard Pitino for this program going forward? What did you enjoy about playing for him the most?
I think the most important thing, I think, this is very important if you want to play for a coach that's serious. I think he's going to keep it real 100% of the time. It doesn't matter who's the highest paid guy. It doesn't matter who averages the most. If you're not doing what you need to do, you will not see the court. And he keeps it as real as that. He will cuss you out. He'll tell you you're being lazy. He'll call you a bunch of things that I can't say out here. Like he's not afraid to, belittle you, but then bring you back up. Like he'll belittle you and then he'll bring you right back up. Like he'll be like, you need to stop. I remember this play. Like it was yesterday. I messed up a coverage with Jovan. We were supposed to, he was hedging and I said switch, which wasn't the right thing. And he chewed me out. He's like, are you confused? What are you doing? Are you confused? Like, what are we doing? That's the PG version, by the way. Because he called a timeout right after he hit a 3. And then
so this was in a game, not in practice.
Oh, this was in a game. In a game. And then he's looking at me on the bench. He's looking at me. He's like, all right, where do you want on the block so you can go score and show him who's boss? I was like, oh, well, just put it right here, coach. I'll go score on him. And very next play, I scored on him. So, but he's a coach that, he wants what's best for you. He also wants what's best for the team. He's going to put you in situations where you're going to shine the best, but it's his team. You need to know it's his team. And he has a family and he has a job that he needs to, he needs to win. And obviously, his first year, you're not going to be like, okay, can he? It's the first year. Like, I promise you, he's the type of coach, like, he's never going to have a losing season ever again at Xavier. Like, I know I sound bold for saying that, but he's never going to lose again at Xavier. I'm not going to be surprised if they finish top 3 this year because of how his mind works. Because, like, he loses sleep over losing. He loses sleep when we don't beat a team by 20 that we should have beat by 30. Like, you can ask him. He loses sleep about this kind of stuff.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley. Weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
If you're going to crown him, then crown him. Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot, Marisa Contipelli. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11.
Always open.
Right here on
Usually
the
you
Crown.
look and you stay straight.
Dang.
Jacob's seat just cooled down a bit.
Yeah, it did. Uh-oh. Now, Jacob's warming up in the bullpen. Here we go.
Oh.
Warming up in the bullpen here. The bullpen gets plenty of rest, though, when Chase Burns is on the mound, and so it is time. It's time for the ceremony.
I've been waiting so long.
It is time for the ceremony. So Jacob Tissot.
I'm on the train.
This has been a long time coming.
Jacob Tissot, a.k.a. Jacob Burns, a.k.a. his brother Chase Burns. Jacob is a big Chase Burns fan and a big Burns believer, and he's believed in him since pre-tax day, April 15th. This guy was like, oh, this is the best pitcher in Reds history. He's the best. He's an ace.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Like, whatever crazy statement you think you can make about Chase Burns in the first 2 starts of his career, well, Jacob made them, and he put them out there in the universe. And I've been the pushback guy. I've been the, he's not an ace yet. Well, it's time for me to crown Chase Burns after what he's done. Again, he goes on the road to New York, and I get it. Garrett Cole wasn't on the mound on the other side. Well, he didn't have to face Garrett Cole anyway. He was facing that lineup. And so for Chase Burns to continue to go out and do what he's done time and time and time again, look at those numbers here. His ERA, awesome. 9-1 on the season, 102 strikeouts, 1 earned run against that Yankees team. Chase Burns, you are an ace. Regardless of what happens to Hunter Green, regardless, you have 82 plus innings. You've done it. You've shown me enough. It is June 22nd. I wasn't going to crown you April 22nd like Jacob Tissot or like Marisa Contipelli. I wasn't going to crown you March 22nd before the season like Jacob Tissot. You needed to show me. Well, you've shown me. Chase Burns, the ace, is on the case. Mr. Chase.
It's about time you join in on the fun because every time Chase Burns is on the mound, it is a joy to watch.
I don't know why the crown was on my head.
I was going to say, I don't know when we ever crowned you.
Pat, I'm passing the baton.
There we go.
My days of being an ace are over.
You know what? You can't bring me down in this segment. I've been waiting for this day for so long for James to finally
March
crown
22nd.
Chase Burns, and Burns has done it all year long, and it's the consistency for me that has really brought this home. Now, obviously, you need an ace who's going to be able to get strikeout stuff and keep the ball in the ballpark and not allow runs, and all those things are great. but you need to know that they're going to do it every single time they go on the mound. And at this point, with Chase Burns, you're more confident in that than you have been with any pitcher in the history of the Cincinnati Reds. Burns has gone 12 consecutive starts with 5 innings pitched and 2 runs or fewer allowed. He is the 25th pitcher in Major League history for that stat and the first Cincinnati Red. This is a level of consistency and dominance that we've never seen in a Reds uniform from a pitcher, especially to start a season, especially at this age. Chase Burns has no ceiling right now. He's second in the MLB in wins. He's 4th in ERA, just at a 2 flat. Will assumedly get below that in his next start or two. Over 100 Ks and a whip in the top 15. There's nothing he doesn't do well, and now he's done it for almost 3 full months.
Yeah, and honestly, you mentioned Garrett Cole. I don't really know if that would have mattered if Cole was on the mound for the Yankees. And the way that Burns went out and pitched and held New York to just 5 hits and 1 earned run, and now this is 8th straight decision where he's gotten a win. The first Red to do that since 1989, Tom Browning. Look, the Reds are 7-1 in his last 8 starts, and the stat that Jacob just mentioned is absolutely phenomenal. 12 straight starts allowing 2 or fewer runs. He is showing how just dominant of a pitcher he is, and just how valuable and important he is not just to this Reds pitching rotation, but to the lineup in general. And this team, it's been so fun to go out there and watch him. And I am finally glad the day has come that you are recognizing his greatness.
It wasn't about recognizing its greatness. I think you need to be consistent to be an ace. And this is consistent. Let's start in April 28th, right? Because that's the last time the Reds felt like they were in a great spot. So he goes 6 against the Rockies, gives up 2 runs. After that, the calendar shifts to May, and the Reds are awful. Well, Chase Burns was the opposite of awful. In Pittsburgh, 7 innings, no runs. Follow that up against Houston, 6 innings, 1 run. Follow that up, 6 innings, 0 runs, 6 innings, 1 run, 5 1/3, 2 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 1/3, 2 runs, and then back-to-back 5-inning outings, 0 runs against the Mets, 1 run against the Yankees. This is what an ace looks like. He performs this way. Now, is he going to go deeper into games as he gets longer into his career, a year or 2 from now versus now? Fine, but he's done it now. All of April, all of May. It's June 22nd. Chase the ace, crown him.
No, to that point of going deeper into games, I think if there's a couple areas where you want to see a little bit of improvement out of Chase Burns, it's the walks. He's given up 3 walks now in back-to-back starts, and the home run ball. I mean, he's still among the league leaders of starters in home runs allowed, with 10 on the year right now. So not necessarily among the league leaders, but in terms of the guys that are in that like NL Cy Young race, more specifically when you look compared to like a Mizorowski who's given up 4 on the season. So those would be the 2 areas, and then it was a very weird day yesterday where the Yankees ended up stealing 6 bases. So just a couple little, but that's being nitpicky in the grand scheme of things.
The stolen bases will be a thing in Chase Burns' entire career, I think. It was a thing in college in Tennessee. It was a thing in college at Wake Forest, and it's been a thing so far in his MLB career. That high leg kick and almost full Johnny Cueto-esque turn sometimes on the mound makes it really easy for runners to get a jump, and certainly that's something he can clean up on. But I do think just generally looking at Chase Burns right now, it's kind of crazy how consistent and how much belief has been built up in him this early in such a young career. Because I know the 12 games now consecutively, 5 innings, 2 or less runs is getting more people to buy in. But this has been really a level of confidence since the end of April, where he's out there and the Reds are going to be able to win the game. Chase Burns got 4 decisions, all wins in the month of May. The Reds hardly won 4 games in May, and he was able to lock those up when he was a starter on the mound. I think the thing with Burns that's exciting right now is he's among one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he hasn't reached his ceiling yet because of all the things that Marisa just said. So I don't even think this is the best version of Burns we're going to get, certainly in his career, but maybe even this season. But the concern now would be the innings limit, and we've talked about that a little bit since the show started, but now really creeping up on it now. 85 innings now after the weekend. He's never pitched over 100 in his career. I think that's playing into a little bit the consistently pulling him around 5 innings. Now, granted, over the weekend, he was up at 95 pitches after the 5th inning. I don't think he's going to the 6th, but if those innings weren't as much of a concern, I do think we would be getting a little bit more length out of Chase Burns right now.
Yeah, I get it. I do. And balancing that makes sense. He's at 85 and 2/3 innings pitched so far, or 85.2 innings so far. You do the math. 3 more starts when you get to 100, you get to the All-Star break. We'll see. Up next, we'll shift gears. We'll talk Bengals right here on First Word.
This city has always had something to prove. While the rest of the country talked about us, we built our own voice. Blue collar, underdogs, built differently, overlooked, talked about like we were supposed to stay quiet. But that was never who we were, because this city doesn't wait for permission. And neither do we. And now, for the first time, Cincinnati has a network built in its image, because the biggest stories in this city deserve more than highlights. This isn't cable television. This isn't national media. This is ours. This is the Crown.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, a Cincinnati native, and I have been in media for about 10 years now. Formerly on the radio here in Cincinnati, I grew my love and obsession with finding all things fun in Cincinnati and have now made it my life. I'm originally from the West Side here, and then I've pretty much been a downtown girl ever since college. But I did leave for 7 years, and during that time, I really grew and harnessed and cut my teeth doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, learning how to ski in Colorado, and now I'm back here in Cincinnati, driven by curiosity and grounded by family.
First one's going to be a yes or no. So is the biggest need for the Reds right now bullpen?
Yes.
It is. Over lineup.
Over lineup?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No doubt.
All right. There you go. There's one. Two, should they be buyers at the deadline? They're 15 and 27 since May 1. They're 35 and 38 on the year.
As I like to do, James, I'm going to answer this conditionally.
Conditionally.
If they're going to be serious and be buyers to be buyers and go all in, yeah, they should be buyers.
Go all in.
Well, James, you've got 3 wild card spots. We saw what happened last year.
They remind me every day. They're only 3 games out. Them and everybody else in the NL.
But that's the way they are. They're not going to catch the Milwaukee Brewers. Realistically,
they're 11 out.
They are. But there have been Reds teams in the past that have made a run. I mean, we go back to the 70s. 79 Reds were 10 games. I know I love to go back to the 70s.
The 70s.
You know,
yeah, with your music and your takes. Let's
yes,
go.
I do. But anyway, the Reds have the ability to make up a lot of ground if there weren't 4 teams in front of them. But they're not going to. We're talking mid to late June, they're not going to be able to leapfrog 4 teams, I don't think, and get to the top of the division. That's just not realistic at this point in time. So if they are still within shouting distance of that number 3 wild card, go for it and then get in and then hope Hunter Green finds that magic, becomes that dominant ace. Hunter Green and Chase Burns at the top of your rotation with Andrew Abbott after that. If they were ever able to get to the postseason, I love that.
I'm Paul Fritchner. I'm a 2019 graduate of Xavier University, and I've been covering college basketball for 10 years here in the Cincinnati area. I'm the host of the Rebound Rundown, a daily college basketball podcast during the season and a weekly show in the off-season covering everything you need to know about your favorite team. And if you're not a fan of a team here in Cincinnati, I have you covered from the national perspective as well. Follow it on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
First word rolls on. Right here on The Crown. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. Coming up in 8 minutes, should the Bengals do something very, very bold to address their quarterback room? We will dive into that coming up in a bit.
I don't like when you start cooking over there.
Scary.
It's never good for the rest of us.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Jalen Davis is good. I just talked to him, what was it, 5 days ago, 4 days, whatever it was. The last day in the Bengals locker room, what was that, Wednesday?
I think so.
So
Yes.
5 days ago. He's training out in Arizona. He's going full boxer. Family is going elsewhere and visiting other members of the family. He is focused on ball between now and training camp. Buy or sell, Jalen Davis is going to be starting nickel corner week 1 against Tampa Bay.
I'm buying it. I think what we saw out of Jalen Davis in those final 7 games of the season last year when he got called up from the practice squad, he played really well. 270 snaps, 120 of those came in the slot. And while he was in the slot, targeted 13 times, didn't give up a touchdown, a passer rating of just a 55, one of the lowest among all slot corners last season in the league. And then, of course, he got his first interception in Miami. So he played really well down the stretch. I think that's going to carry over into camp.
Fair or foul is what we are doing, by the way.
You said buy or sell.
I'm just used to buying and selling, but now we're fair or foul.
So it's a fair?
Very fair assessment to say that, yeah.
I love that we
fair or
dust
foul?
off fair or foul for a Bengals buy or sell. That was a really good call.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hits the foul pole. More chicken for the whole crowd. I think he will start, but as much of the result of what else is in that room as well. We talked a little bit about the competition last week. A real revolving door out there with all those corners competing for the nickel spot, and I think Davis being here since 2020 will give him an upper hand in that room.
So you don't think they signed someone?
I don't.
No.
Because I think if they do, he's not starting.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if they signed someone, that would be to start, I would imagine.
I'd be surprised if they signed another corner.
Yeah, and we can dive into this more in depth. I think it's interesting. I'm going to say this is fair as well. I think he is going to start. And part of it is, I don't think it's been a huge priority. I think they wanted to address corner. They wanted to get a guy who could play outside. And Tacario Davis, I think they believe in, and that's really the path. If Jalen Davis isn't starting, I think it's more likely that it's because Tacario Davis is so awesome on the outside that Dax Hill is forced inside. Mm-hmm. But for all intents and purposes, Dax Hill is playing outside right now. Like, that's the plan. That's what he's been communicated. That's what coaches have told him. That's what coaches have said publicly. It's no secret. And so if that's the case and it's DJ, Turner, Dax Hill, I think it's going to be Jalen Davis at that nickel spot. And if it is, it's a pretty good starting cornerback room, I would say.
A lot of familiarity in that room. They've been together for a while, so hopefully that can help, especially early in the season with a lot of the other changes on the defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We will continue the Bengals conversation coming up next. Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, Josh Johnson. For my money, it's the best quarterback room in the NFL. Should the Bengals add to it? We will play buy or sell next, right here on First Word.
Cincinnati, Ohio. Nick had with the fan favorite to put it away. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Oh, what a catch. Cincinnati can't score. Dalvin Cook scores in the Rams game.
You were there. We were sitting next to each other like we are now yesterday. Joe Burrow was talking for 25 minutes. Your biggest takeaway was?
Urgency. I think Joe Burrow realizes that he's got to be a meaner Joe. 1970s?
Meaner Joe.
Mean Joe Burrow. I love the way that lines up for everybody who appreciates the 1970s and Mean Joe Green. But anyway, all seriousness, I think Joe Burrow has communicated to everybody inside the locker room and now outside that what happened the last couple of years is not going to be acceptable. And I think he is ready to take on the responsibility that comes with holding everybody accountable every single day. I think he has been certainly the leader in that locker room. I'm not here to insinuate that he hasn't done a good job being a leader up until this point, but I think he's going to try to be a different type of leader. Dan Pitcher talked about this as we were heading out the door and met with him, a couple of the beat writers, and Dan Pitcher was saying maybe he wasn't comfortable being that kind of leader the last couple of years, and maybe this is his growth in leadership, the next step he thinks he needs to take to deliver that message of urgency, and I think it's been really well received.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down the biggest moments and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
We set the agenda for you every single weekday morning, 7 to 11, right here on First Word. I'm James Rapien. Alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot, we are your morning sports show, Cincinnati. Even though, according to this side of the desk, I just ruined things. Welcome in. Plenty to get to between now and 11. I embrace the villain role.
Just no context.
And let's dive into what? What? Go ahead.
I'm saying it was bold of you to not ruin that intro and then bring it up.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. That's what we do here. By the way, if you want to watch us every single weekday, and hopefully you do, it's on YouTube, of course, live there on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network and live streaming on X, Facebook, and listen live on Mixler. If you miss the show, Spotify, Apple, iHeart as well. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley every weekday, noon to 1, right here on The Crown. And, of course, the Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner and the Nat Jones Show. And Nat tries that anywhere and everywhere you get your podcasts and on the Crown YouTube channel. Let's dive into this is going to be a fun one. Let's do it. And there's a reason why they said what they said, and because this is going to be pretty controversial, I think. But let's get into it. There's been plenty of discussion about Brendan Sorsby, and from a college standpoint, from a NFL supplemental draft standpoint, all of those things. We haven't talked about it from a Bengals standpoint. Now, the Bengals have Joe Burrow. They have Joe Flacco. They have Josh Johnson. Should the Bengals be interested in Brendan Sorsby, and to be even more concise here, buy or sell, that the Bengals should use a pick in what we're expecting the supplemental draft to be next month, in next month's supplemental draft for Brendan Sorsby? Buy, in sync, in its prime, buy. But I'll let the sellers go first.
We are not in sync. No in sync here. Sell.
This side is in sync in a big way.
This side is just you.
That's right. We in
It's a
sync.
powerful side of the
We in
desk.
sync. What you got? Why sell?
What were those names that you just listed off again in the Bengals
Joe
quarterback room?
Burrow, Joe Flacco, older than us. Josh Johnson, older than us.
They don't need him.
I'm just saying. They have a combined age of
everyone's older
like
than
80
Jacob.
behind Joe Burrow. Like, I'm just, yeah.
No, they don't need him. But the bigger thing for me and the reason why I'm selling is Zach Taylor has prided building this locker room a certain way, the culture, the character, the type of people they are bringing into those room. They're captains. They're good stand-up guys. I just don't see Brendan Sorsby fitting into this locker room. This gambling, everything that happened during his college career, gambling on teams he had played for, no matter whatever has happened, that is always going to loom over his head. And maybe not forever for his entire career, but it's going to be there for a while. So anytime he is going to enter a game, it's going to be in the back of your mind. Is there something else at play here? I don't want that kind of controversy. I don't need that kind of distraction in a locker room and amongst teammates. And I just don't think the Bengals need to bring in that kind of situation into a locker room. That seems, like a pretty gelled team together.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with really everything Marisa just said. But even just to take it a step further, I don't think Sorsby's good. So in order to put a comp pick on a quarterback coming out of college and want to use him as a backup, you have to believe in the talent anyway. And I don't think he's an NFL quarterback, or certainly not a round 1 or round 2 quarterback where a lot of people are talking about him potentially going in the draft. If the Bengals were going to make a bid to be competitive and actually try to add Sorsby here, I think it would have to probably be a 3rd or 4th rounder, which I would not be comfortable bidding for Brendan Sorsby. So I'm completely out on this for all the locker room and character reasons that Marisa said, but also for football reasons where I don't think Brendan Sorsby's a very good quarterback.
Yeah, all right. So he's anti-UC, and I'm just going to put it out there right now. You don't like Bearcats. That's why you don't like
He's
me.
a Red Raider.
That's what it is. Yeah, fine. But you made up your mind about Brendan Sorsby. Brendan Sorsby was a good college quarterback.
When he threw for 65 yards against Nebraska.
Yeah, you keep bringing up Nebraska. That's one game, 1. 2, NFL evaluators have it much closer to your guy, Ty Simpson, than they do your guy, Sean Clifford, for example. And Sean Clifford was a 5th-round pick. No, yeah. But I'm just saying, there's a reason why we're talking about this. And if he was a 5th-round NFL quarterback or a 6th-round quarterback, guess what? It would cruise by, and he won't get picked in the supplemental draft. But he's going to. That's why there's all this discussion about him.
NFL's never gotten quarterback evaluations wrong.
No, I get it. I understand that. But Desmond Ridder was a 3rd-round pick. Brendan Sorsby's better than Desmond Ridder. Not even
pretty close.
Not even close.
He's got the tools. He just can't play football.
Not even close. He can actually throw it. Ridder couldn't. And so I just comparing UC, that's part of it. Here's why I buy it. And this is a gamble the Bengals should be willing to make. And it's simple. Because you don't need to do 2nd round, 3rd round. This is like a 5th-round comp pick. Marisa talked about distractions. There are no distractions when it comes to an instant, you're the 3rd quarterback in the room at best. He would come in and kind of be stuck and be at best an emergency 3rd quarterback, but you're taking a flyer on the talent. I would use a 5th-round comp pick on him, or a 5th-round supplemental pick in the draft. And if for some reason the NFL overthinks it, then you just stole a quarterback that was going to be I would say day 2 pick next year. I never bought the 1st-round hype either, to your point. But day 2 pick next year, and you get him in the 5th round, and you can develop him, and there's no pressure for him to play even a little bit this year. You're not going to have to wonder about what he's doing. All he needs to do is focus on football and learn the playbook, because there's no chance he's playing this year regardless. So it's an investment in the backup quarterback of the future. I don't think there would be many distractions. There would be an initial news push, and then it's Brendan Sorsby. He's not a star. He's a fine player, not a star. This has made him a much bigger name than he was 2 months ago. And so once you get past the initial news wave of taking him in the draft, if you somehow got him in the 5th round, then I think that would go away. The storyline would go away. So I don't buy that the distraction would be huge. I think it would be a gamble worth making in the 5th round. I wouldn't go higher than that. It's very much we're at an auction, I'll put a bid in, and it's that simple. And it's a low bid where I'm comfortable doing that. But if I'm the Bengals, why wouldn't I be in the quarterback talent acquiring business behind Joe Burrow? Joe Flacco's 40-plus years old, signed a 1-year deal. Josh Johnson, who knows if he makes the roster? Sean Clifford on the roster as well, isn't part of your long-term plan at quarterback. So for me, yeah, we're going to talk about quarterback next offseason regardless behind Joe Burrow. That will be a topic. Can you get ahead of it? Why wouldn't the Bengals have that discussion? And 5th round is nothing. I'd be in on the 5th round if teams overthought it. I don't think that will happen. I think he'll go in the 2nd round most likely. 5th round, though, buy it all day long.
I disagree. I think this is always going to be a talking point, especially early on, especially this 1st, 2nd year, however many years he's ended up in the league or with a team. It's going to be a distraction because we're going to consistently talk about it. In national media, I don't care if he's a 3rd quarterback or not. He is still on your roster. We saw it at Indiana. He didn't play, but he was still gambling and betting on the team. It's going to be a distraction.
I'm more with James on that front. I think if he's not starting, it won't be talked about much, if
He's
at all.
not even going to dress
right,
if the
yeah.
Bengals get him.
I think once he gets to the league, this will
He
pretty
can
much
join
go
the depths.
away. That's why I've been saying the whole time that I don't think he should be allowed in the league, because I think that's what makes it go away. But if he's a third quarterback somewhere, I think this does go away relatively quickly, and he can get, if his play deserves it, then he'll get to a point where he can start in the NFL. I don't think he is the level of player that I would be willing risking this type of thing on. And if he was much better in college, then sure, I would ignore this and draft the player in the supplemental draft. But a position that you don't need at all, really, and then a player with a lot of question marks around him, both on and off the field, seems like a big, big risk to take on a player that, even in the best case scenario, doesn't provide much to your team.
Sorsby Sundays, a pregame show with Brendan Sorsby, because he's not dressing for the Bengals. Bengals' fifth quarterback, Brendan Sorsby.
Then he can give out his picks.
Yeah, for sure. But I would use a pick on him. And the NFL is much higher on him than you are, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you just think he's just bad.
NFL draft fans and college football fans are two very different places on Brendan Sorsby.
No doubt. And I'm in the middle. That's why it's fifth round. Like, if I thought he was a first-round quarterback and the Bengals could get him for a third-rounder, and I thought he was worth the first... Yeah. Like, if you could get
no question
Mendoza for a third-round pick, even with Joe Burrow, you do it because it's the best backup quarterback that you could get, period. That's how I approach this. It's very, can you add to your room? Is he going to be a distraction? Initially, Marisa thinks it's going to be forever, and that would be the debate. I don't want forever distraction. Shador seems like a distraction past 1 year and whether or not he'll play. Now, if the Bengals had drafted him, would that be the case, or would they know his spot? He's the backup behind Joe. I think that's interesting. I think he's a much bigger name, though, than Sorsby. Sorsby is going to have to be buttoned up, and that's it. Otherwise, his career is going to be over before it gets started. And so I think if I'm the Bengals and I can steal him, I would be in the market of stealing him because of the position he plays, because of that value. And there's more people than not are going to be on your guys' side. Just avoid, why would you want the distraction? Why would you want to do? I would be surprised if a lot of people were on my side. But acquiring a quarterback that is talented, that could end up being your long-term backup for Joe Burrow over the next 4 years, that makes sense for me for a fifth-round pick.
What's the most value of Brendan Sorsby? Say they do bid on him in the supplemental draft and they win. Fifth-round pick for Sorsby.
Yes.
What is the most value he can provide for this team? Is it 3-4 games when Burrow's hurt over the next 2 years where he comes in as the backup? Is it starting him in the preseason, having him light it up, and then flipping him for essentially that fifth-round pick, maybe that you bid on him in the supplemental draft? What is the vision for Sorsby providing value to the Cincinnati Bengals?
He's A.J. McCarron.
Okay.
Fifth-round pick, comes in and brings you stability in that backup role. And that's it. That's what you would be asking him to be. You're not asking him to be your long-term starter or threaten the starting job or anything like that, like people thought with McCarron and Dalton. That's why I bring that up. You're not doing that. But you're spending a fifth-round pick on a backup.
Right.
And spoiler, with Flacco's age, we will, again in March, we're going to be talking about, all right, who should they sign? Should they bring back Joe? What should they do at quarterback? Well, Joe Burrow is going to get a longer-term extension and more money at some point. You probably want to get a young quarterback in that room. And so that's the other element here, is the long-term option, especially if you can learn from Flacco and Johnson right now. Probably a good spot to be in. It's not like he has to learn from just Joe. There's other guys in that, other vets in that room.
I sat here last week.
Have I convinced Marisa yet?
No.
I don't think so. We sat here
I'm
last week
very
talking
hard
about
sell.
the Bengals finally got through minicamp without any distractions, and now James is adding the distraction of the football offseason.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say because I know we're not going to change your mind.
It's a gamble the Bengals should be willing to make. I don't understand.
And that's the thing. Yeah.
It is. Because they wasted a fifth rounder. Like that's every draft in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of their fifth-round picks don't work out. It's whether you like it or not. That's just part of the NFL. Taking one on a quarterback, using one on a quarterback that would go much earlier, I'm not against it.
The only bets you know you'll lose are the ones you don't make.
I would make it. I don't think the Bengals will, but we'll dive into that for another day. I think Marisa had the intel there. Sell, sell, sell. But up next, let's switch gears. Let's talk about Ellie De La Cruz. When will he rejoin the Reds? And what kind of impact could he make? We'll dive into that next, right here on First Word.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with the first word. Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports. The working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
The headline news that I mentioned out of Lexington is that Milan Momcilovic, the best shooter in the sport, he pulled his name out of the NBA draft and he is going to Kentucky. The NIL rumor mill was that he got around $6.5 million. He chose Kentucky over Louisville and Arizona. St. John's had been in the mix for a little bit, but when they got Tunde Yesufu, Momcilovic was not going to go to St. John. So a huge recruiting win for Mark Pope. For all the flack that Mark Pope has caught this offseason, he has ended up putting together what I believe will be a top 20 team this upcoming season. He posted a picture after Momcilovic committed to Kentucky. Mark Pope posted a picture. He's sitting on the beach on vacation, and he's got 2 playing cards in his hand, and Many Men is playing as the song in the background on Instagram. If you back up this season with a successful season, if you back that picture up with a successful season, that'll be a fun picture to look back on, back when Milan Momcilovic commits to Kentucky. The highest sought after recruit in the portal, pretty much widely regarded as the best shooter in the sport. Shot almost 50% from 3 this past season, and Kentucky is the only school in the country to land 3 transfers rated 95 or higher, and Momcilovic, Alex Wilkins, and Zoom Diallo. Kyle Tucker of 24/7 Sports, he pointed out that Kentucky landed the number 1 power forward in Momcilovic, the number 7 point guard in Zoom Diallo, the number 7 combo guard in Alex Wilkins, and the number 19 center in Frank Kepnong. You're looking at a starting lineup right now at Kentucky of Zoom Diallo, Alex Wilkins, Cam Williams, Milan Momcilovic, and then Malachi Moreno, who came back to school. That is a pretty high-level team, given what we were talking about with Kentucky about a month ago.
Hey, I'm Marisa Contipelli, one of the co-hosts on First Word and a features producer here on The Crown, where I will be out and about in Cincinnati bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City. Now, I know I'm from Cleveland, but I love my Cincy sports. I've been in Cincinnati for almost a decade now, spending the last 8 seasons with the Bengals as a team reporter and senior producer. I am so excited to be a part of the team here at The Crown, and I can't wait to bring you the latest from around the city.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
First Word rolls on a Monday. Jacob Tissot, boy, he just made the ugliest face I've ever seen. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli. You want to make the face with the people?
I'm good. Just for you.
It was wild. And I couldn't, man.
Look, if you're going to give that wind out.
It was the most unbelievable face ever. You sure you don't want to do it? Come on.
I'm good.
Show it to camera, too.
I don't even know what it was.
Oh, man. It was, whoo. Whew. It was the face Zach Taylor probably made when I bought that the Bengals should try to get Brendan Sorsby in the building. But I do believe that, but I doubt the Bengals are in on that. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Good.
No, not good. Not good. I think we all agree.
If you missed what we're talking about, go over to our socials and you can hear the discussion there.
At First Word Cincy, we'll post the whole video on our YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button there, by the way, if you haven't yet. Over 6,000 already have, and we're just starting week 4. And Marissa's almost on vacation number 2. So there's a lot that's
that wouldn't be funny if it was a lie.
Yeah.
But since it's not, it's funny.
She has a countdown. A couple days left, and then she's going on vacation.
Spoiler, that is not what
Just
today's
resets to
countdown
3
is about.
days every time.
Do you have a countdown there?
No.
I was
I was talking about the countdown that's coming up in 15.
Oh, countdown. Yes. Contipelli's countdown is different.
Come on, the show countdown.
Oh, my gosh.
No,
Her
we're
top
not.
5 vacations
No.
since launch week.
I am counting down to when Ellie De La Cruz will be back in the Reds lineup, though.
She's trying. All right, we can talk Ellie. Are we sure we don't? All right. Ellie De La Cruz is close to a return to the Reds lineup and started for the Louisville Bats over the weekend. Looked pretty good on Friday and got 3 games under his belt. So let's start there. Ellie De La Cruz getting closer to being back in the lineup.
As good of news as you could hope for this weekend. You got the long ball. You got him playing shortstop for 7 innings on Sunday. All encouraging things that you want out of a rehab start. And I think the biggest thing for me was just making sure Ellie got through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday without really hearing anything. Now, if it was home runs or doubles, that's all great. Obviously, would love to hear it like we saw on Friday. But even the offer on Saturday and Sunday really doesn't bother me too much. Getting Ellie De La Cruz back in this Reds lineup is really the only thing on my mind at this point. The pitching staff is working towards getting healthy as well, but this lineup just looks so different with Ellie in it, not just offensively, but defensively as well with him at shortstop. And I think the big question on everyone's mind is what potentially is that move when Ellie is activated, but no matter what it is, the Reds will get better when he is removed from the injured list.
He means so much to this lineup. He hasn't played since May 31st, and he is still second on the team in RBI, second in total bases, second in average. Blake Junn just surpassed him over the weekend after going 6 for 12.
He's not qualified. Pipe down over there.
He
Blake
still
Dunn!
have him.
Like, what's this?
Best done in Reds history.
But no, but that just goes
Did you
to
see
show
that bum against
how
the
much
Bananas the other day?
It just goes to show how much this lineup is missing Ellie in there. Even though they had a great weekend against the Yankees and have won back-to-back series, it's a different production when he's right there in the 2 spot.
No doubt. By the way, Adam, I'm just kidding. You got me calling Adam Dunn a bum. He's not a bum.
You did that
He's
on your own.
No. You're just getting me all competitive. I'm just saying Blake Dunn's the best done in Reds history. That's all I'm trying to say. That being said, Ellie De La Cruz, huge. Would give them a huge boost, and they need him. Like, if they're going to start winning some of these division games, you need Ellie De La Cruz on the field. You need him to be a consistent presence. I love that he got 3 outings in AAA. Get off to that flash start. I'm sure he was really excited on Friday night. Come back down to earth a little bit. You get today to catch your breath, and then tomorrow you'll hopefully start against Milwaukee, and we'll see how they use him. But Ellie De La Cruz is a weapon, and you need weapons. And this Reds lineup has missed him since the moment he went out on that Sunday when he pulled his hamstring, when it would have been a triple, and instead he had to hold up at first because he felt the hamstring injury. So hopefully he's 100%. Hopefully he's ready to go because they need 100% Ellie. If they're going to turn this 2-series streak into 3 or 4 series, it's going to be because Ellie De La Cruz is on the field.
Well, I go back to when Ellie got hurt, and I believe it was Nathaniel Lowe right after that game said, we all know how much Ellie means to this team on the field and in the lineup, but in the locker room, he's just as important. And I don't think that's rocket science to figure out on this team. He's been here since 2023, and he's been the face of this organization since the minute he got called up. But this team doesn't just need his home runs and his RBIs and the sweet plays at shortstop to get back in this race here. They need him. They need his energy in the locker room. They need his conversations with the teammates. I mean, one of the biggest talking points of Ellie's career, along with figuring out the power, evening out both sides of the plate, he learned English to have better relationships with the players and fans in and around the locker room. That is such a huge thing for a young star in the league to take that initiative of being a leader and being there for his teammates, and he is. I mean, Terry Francona said 3 or 4 times throughout this stretch that he's been out that Ellie's been banging the table to get back not only in the lineup, but just to hang out with the team in the dugout when they're here in town. He hates being away from this team, and I think when he gets back, he's going to be ready to go and chomping at the bit to play his best baseball and get this team back into the hunt. He's watched them for the last month. He knows how much he means to this lineup, and he knows how much he can change things when he gets back. I couldn't be more excited to see him, hopefully, as soon as Tuesday.
It would be huge to get him back, but if they're realistically, they're 37 and 39. You just look at the standings. You take the long view approach. Blake Dunn, I make jokes about him and stuff. He has been consistent. But at the top of that lineup, no Ellie De La Cruz versus Ellie De La Cruz. could be the difference between winning a game here, winning a game there, the difference between the bullpen having an extra insurance run, the difference between the starter feeling pressure to hold on and maintain whatever lead they have, 2-1 or whatever. Like the margin for error for this Reds team, where it is now versus how it felt in April when it just everything was cooking and Ellie De La Cruz was doing his thing and the bullpen was doing his thing. Well, we've seen flashes of this. Tony Santillan's coming back, some of these guys. You can sell me on, all right, well, they're going to get healthy and they're going to start pushing, but that starts with Ellie. As much as it's Hunter and different bullpen arms and all those things, Ellie's such a big part of it. And so, like, big picture-wise, like, hopefully he comes back. But whenever he does come back, you need Ellie to be Ellie. And that's what I'm really focused on. I hope we're not talking about, Ellie De La Cruz's first week rejoining the Reds. He's 2 for 12. Or it wouldn't be first week. 2 for 20 and has 2 singles, hasn't stolen a base, and has 2 errors. So hopefully he's ready to go. That's my other, not concern, but thought, especially with the hamstring injury. He's a speedster. He's a weapon. I need him to be right, assuming he's going to join the lineup tomorrow.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think looking at that lineup, I circle back to where I was about the week before Ellie got hurt. And call me crazy, but is this lineup trending to a place where it's good again?
Oh, my God.
I mean, looking at the way this lineup shakes out, 2 through 7.
What are you doing?
No, just listen to the names. It's as good as it sounded in quite some time for Reds fans. You have Blade, Stewart, Lowe, Steer, Suarez, Marte, Ellie in the heart of your lineup. I would assume McLean's going to lead off, or I would assume Dunn's going to lead off. McLean's one of those guys who could be on the cutting block for Ellie coming back. But this is the best.
You're going to cut McLean?
Oh, I'd DFA. Not DFA. I'd send him down to AAA for Ellie. That would be my move, because I don't think you should move off Arroyo with how good he's been at second.
What about just Ellie at DH?
For who? You still got to make a move.
And that's it. Yeah. That's what's tough. I don't know.
I'm sending McLean down. I think he still has a chance to get back to that ceiling that he was at. And if he's going to do it, oh, man.
I'm joking. They won't do it. They won't do it. I just know it would fire you up.
It would. But part of that lineup getting back to where it is right now is Marte being back and emerging in the outfield. And I just think, I mean, even the last few years when this core has performed at different points in 23 and 25, the conversation has always been that the outfield wasn't there. And there wasn't those other pieces to complement the infield with exciting bats. Well, Sal's better than CES ever was. Ellie's taken a huge step. Arroyo and McLean give a great option at second base. Then the outfield, you have 3 guys you're confident in Blade, Steer, and Marte. So this lineup is as good as it's looked in a long time, and I think it can really help this Reds team over the rest of the summer.
Yeah, and what I love with Ellie being back in that 2 spot is that you can move JJ Blade back down in the order. You look at the numbers, he's batting just 200 when he is batting second this season compared to when he's 4th, batting 364, and 5th, 429. So it seems like Blade is a little bit more comfortable down in the lineup just a little bit to help even things out. But Jacob, you think they're going to be sending McLean down? I think it might end up being your guy, Arroyo. I mean, I know he's been solid defensively, but he has struggled at the plate at times. I mean, outside of his 4-hit game on Saturday against the Yankees, he went 0 for 3 Sunday, 0 for 3 Friday, 0 for 4 in that last game against the Mets. And then before that, he had not had a multi-hit game yet as a Red. So I think send him back down, get a little bit more play time. We know he's going to be back up at some point. He's not going down forever.
Absolutely. You know, you're right. And it's not a huge concern if Arroyo does get sent down. My thing is, I'm not a fan of up-down.
What just happened?
I'm not a fan of up-down for these prospects. Once he's here, leave him here and let him play. If McLean has been good and someone you can rely on at second, then I'd be in on keeping McLean. But McLean's been much better at short than he has been at second anyway. So I think Arroyo at second gives you at least a wash with McLean, and I just wouldn't be a huge fan of sending him back down.
How much are you playing Ellie at short this week?
I'm DHing him on Tuesday. I'm playing him at short Wednesday. Off day Thursday, see how he feels going into the weekend.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that plan.
Yeah, especially off day today. There you go. You solved it. Because that's a dilemma, though, especially if McLean or Arroyo.
I think that's why he's coming up tomorrow, not today.
Give him an off day. Yeah. Is that what you're... Yes, absolutely.
And then you DH him, you play him at shortstop, you give him a built-in off day, reassess going into the weekend.
You put him at center? Just trying to trigger Tissot there, and he gets fired up really easily. Marte and that two Tissot temperature checks that just real quick popping off here on First Word. Up next, it's time, not for the countdown to vacation, for Contipelli's countdown right here on First Word.
they started getting all the additions, and it's okay. Tyler Tejada, great, 17 points at Towson. He should come in and give you 13 or 14 as a wing who can shoot the three. But the piece was missing of who's going to run the offense, like who's going to be the lead guard. So when it came down to Tylen Riley, when you're looking at that, okay, he's committing this day. Who else is left in the portal if you don't get him? So they kind of threw all their chips in, and they're able to get a guy who gets to the line a ton.
But I mean, hey, look, another team that we cover on this show, Kentucky, they put their chips in the middle of the table for a high school guy, Tyron Stokes, and that didn't work out. So it is nice when you push your chips into the middle of the table and you get the guy, because Tylen Riley is a dynamic, game-changing, playmaking type guy who will completely alter what this team would have been without him and now what they will be with him.
Yeah, but I mean, do you want your 1 and 2 to be Taylon Kinney and Tyron Stokes at Kansas? I don't know if I do.
Yeah,
that seems like it can go awry pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Riley's a great player, and I love the amount of guards they brought in that shot 80% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
Now that's something UC fans are going to have to get used to.
A good
People
free throw
making their
shooter,
free
too.
throws. Are you kidding me? You have Sean Abayev come in and he's shooting like 50% from the line through 15 games. And it's like, what? I think they're actually cursed. But that is going to be a big part of their offense. And that's one of my biggest gripes with Wes Miller last year is he had Day Thomas who made 90% of his free throws, and he averaged like 1.5 free throws a game.
Yeah.
It's like, get downhill, get to the line, and make that be a part of your offense. That just wasn't something that I thought Wes ever wanted to be a part of his offense.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones. Just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this grand adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name is Jacob Tissot, and I'm a co-host of First Word from 7 to 11 every morning right here on the Crown Network, where we will break down the biggest stories in Cincinnati sports. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama, where I spent 4 seasons working for the football team as a student assistant, contributing to the 2020 National Championship and 3 SEC championships. I'm a Cincinnati native, a St. Xavier High School graduate, and will bring a local perspective and passion to covering the Bengals, Reds, and everything in between. I'm excited to have you join us on First Word.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
We are less than 50 hours away from Contipelli going on vacation number 2 in First Word history. Welcome back. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, and well-rested Marisa joins us now for Contipelli's Countdown.
I don't even know where to take that one, to be quite honest. So we're just going to get right into Countdown. Toy Story was one of my absolute favorite movies growing up as a kid. I am so excited to see Toy Story 5. It's out in theaters. Didn't get a chance to get there over the weekend, but they've been collabing with some of the professional teams and leagues, and ESPN NFL put out this post of 3 iconic celebrations that happened in Andy's room. Love to see Jesse hitting the gritty. Of course, we got the Saquon hurdle right there. I thought this was a pretty cute post.
Yeah, you said one of your favorite movies when you were a kid. It's one of my favorite movies, period, including right now. I can't wait to see Toy Story 5. We'll see when that actually happens, but one of the best series ever. The first 3 are, it's probably one of the best trilogies ever. The 4th one's good. I'm hoping the 5th one gets back to that iconic status. But anytime you can mix the gritty, Odell's catch, Saquon, NFL with Toy Story, all in. Look at the details there, the celebrations in the background. I love it. I need the Toy Story, like they did Simpsons edition with the Bengals a few years ago. It needs to be Toy Story this year.
Yeah, no, I'm in on that, adding that too. I love all of these. The marketing for this movie has been nuts throughout this summer. They've covered really every corner of the earth for Toy Story 5. I'm really excited to see it too. Those are some of my favorites for sure. I'm a Toy Story 3 supremacist.
It's the best. Toy Story 3 is the number one. If you
there we go.
I think it was 2023 the NFL did a Toy Story game.
They did?
I can't remember what teams it was, but it was iconic and it was great. They need to bring it back because this is phenomenal. I mean, I love everything about collabing in this kind of way, and it's just so clever, and it brings in that different kind of audience too.
What's your favorite Toy Story movie? Yeah, I know I'm dialing it back and all those things.
It's hard to not go with the original.
Yeah,
I
original's
love
great.
one.
Yeah.
But I bawled my eyes out in both 3 and 4.
Three
was
pulls at the emotion, man. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I heard 5 does too. We'll see. 4 tried, and I thought it's emotional. It's sad, but it isn't like 3.
The reason why you forgot who the Toy Story broadcast was, it's because it was the Jaguars versus the Falcons.
Thank
so that
you.
broadcast of Toy Story was probably better than the actual game.
Man, Arena League.
I know I watched the Toy Story broadcast more than the actual game on that night, so that explains why I couldn't remember the teams. But no, to your point, it brings out the emotion. Another thing that seems to have brought out emotion is just the U.S. men's national team going through this World Cup, winning their second game on Friday, and a big reason as to some of their success has been Folarin Balogun, and it's just a crazy effect that he is even on this U.S. team. His parents were living in London when they decided to take a trip to New York in the summer of 2001. His mom was pregnant with him at the time, wasn't allowed to fly back home because of how pregnant she was, so therefore Folarin ended up being born in New York, hence why he is able to be on this U.S. team and making such an impact. It's just one of those stories which is just kind of crazy the way things work sometimes.
Shout out flight attendants. U.S. going on to the knockout stage, and because of some random happening years ago. So that's crazy that this happens in the World Cup and then leads the U.S. to have one of their best players for the World Cup. That's a crazy story.
It is. It's crazy. We're thankful for sure. Hopefully they can keep this rolling. This has been a lot of fun, just 2 games in, and guess what? Advancing, it's fun. You survive and advance in the World Cup. That's all it means. That's all that matters. Hopefully it continues. Love it.
Yeah, he already has 2 World Cup goals. Curious and cannot wait to see how many more he adds to his resume.
Offense wins championships.
14 back from Messi.
Let's pump the brakes just a little bit.
Who says no?
No one was pumping the brakes over at Great American Ballpark over the weekend because the Savannah Bananas were in town, and just look at this turnout. Just an absolutely phenomenal crowd on hand, getting hyped for some banana ball, and the fans coming in clutch. They ended up sealing this game. It was looked like a fun time, and Jacob, you were there.
I went on Saturday. I don't know if this was from Friday or Saturday, but certainly was a great time. It was packed out all 3 days, and those Bananas know how to fill a stadium. I'll tell you that. It was a crazy, crazy crowd down there with an absurd amount of merchandise. All those yellow shirts you see in the stands, 80% of them are actual Bananas merch. It blew my mind.
Yeah. I'm stunned that they sold out all 3.
3?
Yeah. I mean, that's tough to do.
I sold out Kyle Field earlier this summer. 108,000 people.
Shout out to the fan making that catch, too. Nice grab, by the way.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. They bring in some legends as well. I like that. And so, yeah, it was cool to see. I regret not going. Next time I'll go as long as Jacob doesn't.
The only time it's acceptable is wear yellow in Cincinnati in that stadium, right? I think we can agree on that. James mentioned that there were some legends in the house. There were some stars as well. T. Higgins made his way out of the dugout. You see him, he pinch ran here for the Bananas, was having some fun out there on the bases, scored a run, and just got the crowd hyped.
I love it. He scores, hits the sexy Dexy. I'm not sure there's anyone more qualified to run the bases outside of maybe Jamar than T. Higgins. What?
I thought you were about to say outside of me.
I thought so too.
I will
we
say.
looked at each other like, are you kidding?
Maybe Jamar is where I was going the whole time. That being said, hey, Savannah Bananas, next time you're in town, I would love to be a pinch runner. You a player? I love to be a pinch runner. That's easy.
This was awesome. T said he was more nervous for the Bananas pinch run appearance than football games. I'm selling that.
That's crazy.
But it was great to see T out there, and a T chant in Great American Ballpark was good for the soul.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see it. And yeah, she having a little bit of fun with some kind of TikTok dance there at third. Awesome moment and fun times down at Great American. And, speaking of T and the Bengals, the NFL Top 100 is set to debut this evening. Eager to see where T will land on that list. But when it comes to Jamar Chase, shouldn't be a shocker. He should be in the top 10 again this season. Here's a look at some anonymous player ballots that have made their way on social. NFL posting a handful of these, and you see Jamar Chase on nearly every single ballot right here. He is number 7 on that list. To my surprise, I did not see a lot of Joe Burrow.
These last two that just popped up had him in the top 10, but that's what I'm most interested in for sure, because the other two we've seen don't have him in the top 20. So very interested to see how people handle Joe Burrow's injury last year when he was on the field, one of the best quarterbacks in the league for sure, but wasn't on the field a whole bunch last year. So that's what I'm interested in for sure. And if Jamar is anywhere outside of the top 5, I'm going to be frustrated.
I just saw Jonathan Taylor 4, Joe Burrow 20.
Right?
Some people, I get it, players vote, and some of you players need to go work out some more and not vote. And I can't believe they're revealing the ballots.
My most frustrating thing with the NFL Top 100
brutal.
every single year is that there's no defined criteria. Is it, legacy rankings? Is it last season?
No, it's
It's never the same 1 through 100. There's never consistency ranking these guys.
The thing is the Colts would give up Jonathan Taylor in 7 ones for Joe Burrow right now. So that part's interesting. Now, value versus who's the better player is what you say. Fine. We'll see. I have a feeling these rankings are going to annoy me.
And that's what's always interesting, where I feel like the NFL carefully chooses a handful of these to release so you get a different range and mix of guys, because, your players, you're going to vote for your teammates. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. But last year, Burrow...
Saquon 2, Jahmyr Gibbs 14 is crazy. Keep going. Sorry.
Last year, Burrow came in at number 6 on the list. Expect him to drop this season?
Far. Will he be in the top 20?
That's the question, right?
He better be. I think so.
I think he drops. These rankings have a huge react. They react in the moment. I would say lower than 20. What, Marisa? What do you think?
I'm gonna go between 15 and 20. That's kind of where I think he falls.
I just think players are gonna be like, man, he's always hurt.
And
they're just gonna say that, and so just drop him. Even if it's not true, whatever.
Yeah.
But
no, you're right. But Micah said he voted Caleb Williams 1. So who really cares about these rankings?
Are we expecting 4 Bengals? You got Joe, Jamar, T, and Dex. Do we think anyone else will make the list? Or
DJ
probably...
should.
True. DJ. He should. He also should have been a Pro Bowler last year. Yeah.
I wonder if he has recently. Not something I have off the top of my head. But Dexter definitely will. T will. Jamar will. Joe will.
Really
I would hope all 4 that are in the top 50.
I don't. You hope. Really hope DJ does get on the list now that you say that. He should. He deserves that kind of recognition.
I don't think Brian was on it last year, but he did have a breakout season.
For sure.
So I would imagine, much like DJ Turner, it would make sense for him to be in the 90 to 100 range. So we could see him tonight. React to it tomorrow. I hope so. It should be like that. That should probably be the 6.
Now that we said it, I'll be very interested to see where DJ Turner ranks amongst corners, whether he's on it or not. Those corners in the last 90 to 100 range, very confidently not DJ Turner.
He better be.
Not as good as DJ Turner, I should say.
And he may be 91st.
That's what I like. He will not be ranked correctly. I'll guarantee that.
And who knows how this could even come into play with contract extensions and everything when it comes to DJ too.
Where will Chase Brown be? Will he?
Fringe for sure. I think he could.
I think I'd be surprised if he makes it.
1,400 plus yards. He should make it.
He should, but you think about the Bengals offense, there's a lot of other names on lists that list. But plenty more Bengals talk to get to here later on First Word. But coming up next, well, it's our What's the Word poll question of the day. Where does your confidence level fall with the Reds after they've taken 2 series in a row, including the big one in New York? All of that to come. We're with you until 11 o'clock. Thanks for joining us here on The Crown. I'm Marisa Contipelli, and it is time to put FC Cincinnati goalkeeper Roman Celentano in the hot seat and ask him some rapid-fire questions. And I'm not really sure how these are going to stack up to what you're used to facing over there at TQL, if it's going to be easier, if they're going to be tougher. But are you up for the challenge?
Sure am.
All right, we're going to kick it off. Growing up, was goalkeeper always the position you wanted to play?
When I started playing soccer, yes, but before that I was playing baseball, football, American sports, and I never thought soccer would be a thing, but after the 2010 World Cup, I was like, this is what I want to do, and I was good with my hands, so it was just goalkeeper after that, nothing on the field.
So what is the best or favorite save of your career?
Probably the 2023 Save of the Year against Columbus. That was a big moment for, just, I don't know, myself, the team, to win at home against our rivals, and it kind of set us on the path to go on and winning the Shield, so it was big for me.
Who is the toughest striker that you have faced?
It's hard not to say Messi, so I'll go with that.
What is the hardest part about being a goalie that fans might not realize?
There's a lot to it that I don't think people understand or realize, but I would just say consistency, keeping, you know, it's not about having a good game than having a bad game, it's about being okay all the time. And I feel like it's hard to do that, so when you have a goalkeeper that can do that, it's pretty impressive, so I give those guys a lot of credit.
What's more stressful, penalty kicks or going through airport security?
Airport security.
That was a fast answer on that one. Why?
Yeah. There's no pressure on a penalty. You can only be the hero as a goalie, so I like penalties because it gives you a chance to be the hero, and maybe, you know, I'd like to have some back in my career in MLS, but I don't mind facing them. I get more stressed out in other parts of the game, so that's no problem for me.
Hello, my name is Natalie Jones, and welcome to the Nat Jones Show. After retiring from my 10-year radio career here in Cincinnati, I caught the bug, and I'm happy to bring it here to The Crown. I love captivating people who have captivating stories to tell. And the thing about it is, everybody has a story to tell. All you got to do is empower them to do so. That is exactly what I'm doing here. Because life is better when we all stay curious and we all stay connected.
Cincinnati means business. And what does that mean for you and your community? The Working Lunch, every weekday at noon, takes you behind the local business scene with local headlines, interviews with owners and local leaders. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on The Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Jacob Trisket is in the building. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli, Jacob Trisket, a.k.a. Tissot, a.k.a. Biscuit. Hey, 9:48. We got there.
You should do Jacob Trisket, a.k.a. Jacob Trisket.
I could.
And just lean into it.
I do think anytime I talk about the show, and I'm like, Jacob Trisket is the man. He's been so good. He's been like just really praise you and just.
Don't you notice the segments where you introduce him as Trisket? He's just better.
Is that the case?
Way better.
Let's get some underlying analytics for my introductions and performance.
Start tracking
I
it.
like it. I'm like, his above segment war. Segments above replacement.
Clips above replacement.
Clips above replacement.
Views above replacement.
Yeah.
That's what it is. VAR. What?
That's
the
VAR
soccer.
review and soccer.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what are you doing? Okay. There we go. We'll work on it.
Soccer.
We're working on it. Yeah, let's talk
soccer
about
guys on this side of the desk.
Yeah. Big soccer fans over here. I like soccer. What? I do. I'm just pointing out, just because you guys are
Just
soccer
please,
fans.
I want on record, I very much like soccer.
I know. I'm not being
You said it a little
sarcastic.
sarcastically.
I'm not saying anything sarcastic. I'm not against soccer. What's wrong with you two? Come on, Trisket, look alive. Put some cheese on it. That cracker box.
Put that in the cracker box.
Spin it. All right, let's dive into today's poll question before I bust out laughing here. The Reds, they took 2 of 3 from the Yankees over the weekend. So what's the word? Well, what's your confidence level in the Reds following their series win over the Yankees? You have 4 options here. And most of you need to see more. 4 to 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. 59.3% of you say you need to see more from the Reds. 5.7% say they're back. A 10 on the confidence scale. 5.4% say 7 to 9, I believe. And man, no confidence coming in second. 1 to 3 out of 10. 29.6% of you saying no confidence in the Redlegs.
I can't believe only 5.4% of viewers agree with me. I'm in the I believe category.
Yeah, you're all by yourself.
I also can't believe 5.4% of people agree with you and are all in on this team.
Well, I didn't say a 10. I didn't say, they're completely back all in. I'm saying I believe. Like, they have the tools. I think they're going to stay in the playoff. I think they squeak in as a wild card team.
I'm not the Ted Lasso hit the sign yet. We're not there.
I've been there.
I know you've been there. That's what I mean.
I hope she's right. I can't believe, I fall in the majority there.
One of them.
I can't believe. Yeah, the majority there, I think, has it for me, and it really has nothing to do with anything in the Reds' control. It has to do with the schedule leading up until the All-Star break now. Winning a series against the Yankees is phenomenal, and it's great momentum, and it's what they needed to do to have any chance of getting votes of belief going into this stretch. But it's 3 games against Milwaukee, 3 games at Pittsburgh, 4 games at Milwaukee. You come back home and you end with Baltimore, Philly, and Chicago. That is a nightmare. The Reds are not going to be favored in a single one of those series. And the pitching luck against the Pirates, that goes out the window, as the Reds will catch Paul Skeens for the first time of the season. So I'm real nervous about how this schedule shapes up so far, and they're going to have to get some wins against divisional teams for me to buy back in.
I actually like that we get Paul Skeens on the schedule because the Pirates have lost each one of his last 7 starts. It's a weird stat, but I love it.
He has a higher strikeout percentage, lower walk percentage, and lower expected ERA this season than last season when he set records and won a Cy Young. He's a better pitcher this year than he was last year.
I'm so in on making Jacob praise Paul Skeens. Keep going.
Skeens rocks. He's the second best young pitcher, third best young pitcher in the National League Central.
Yeah, well, third. Chase Burton's second.
And, Miz.
See him
Great
Wednesday.
pitching division.
I can't believe you just said I'm excited to see. No chance. I don't want to see that. Against this lineup?
7, yeah.
The lineup that Jacob thinks is good every week.
He's also going head-to-head with Abbott that day, so yeah, give me Andrew Abbott.
Once a week, Jacob's like, hey, could they be good? Like, it's been like...
Because the pieces are there.
Oh, my gosh. No, they're not. They're
yes,
missing.
They are.
There's 6 out of the 9 players in the given lineup you can believe in being actual pieces of a team competing for the playoffs.
66% of the lineup is actual pieces. That's not good.
It's as close as the Reds have been in a long time.
But that's not... 66% of the time it's right every time?
Every time.
Yeah, that's rough. Let's dive into some of these responses here real quick. I can't believe it. 66% of the lineup is good. Jason, they need to start winning division games before I have any confidence. Yeah, Jason, say it.
That's the big thing, because you can't compete without it.
Joe from Cincy. Any series where Abbott and Burns pitches is going to be a decent series. We need to win the games, and the other 60% of the time, especially if Burns is on an innings limit that he's fast approaching.
You look at that Pittsburgh series coming up, Abbott, Burns, Singer. Could be another series dub.
Uh-oh. Anyone else feel like the Yankees just didn't give a darn all weekend? Terrible efforts in defense. Maybe they thought they were going to cakewalk it, but they didn't. They lost. And so that's part of it. Take advantage of it. Hopefully they are sleeping. Hopefully the Brewers sleep. Who cares? It still counts the same in the standings. But for me, there's just not enough to fully believe yet because there's still all these questions about the lineup. There's questions about their best player, Elly De La Cruz. How good is he going to be over the next week? When he gets back to the team tomorrow, we're expecting tomorrow. Can they win games in division? Will they be able to hold up from a rotation standpoint? Will the bullpen be consistent? Will they be able to be good enough to maintain until they get healthy and all the way healthy? There's just a lot of questions here still. So I'm encouraged. But am I fully in believe Ted Lasso mode? I'm not.
No, and I think that's where I would say the majority, and the poll represents that, but where the majority of people are. And I think after this series against the Brewers, we could start to see a big push. If you turn around and you win a series at home against the Milwaukee Brewers, I think there's going to be a maybe even disproportionate number of people that jump into that belief camp. And I think part of the reason why so many people like myself are holding back right now from truly believing in this team is because I feel like I've seen this before. The Reds go win a big series that they shouldn't win, surprise a lot of people, then you come home against the division with a chance to really take control and show who you are, and you let it fall through your fingers and you take heart-wrenching losses in a home series. And if the Reds can get through this 3-game and win the series against the Pirates, which they haven't done yet this year, that's when I really believe in this team taking a step to a level that we haven't seen them at. Sure, they were winning games in April, but they were winning 1- and 2-run games and getting blown out every time in between. We all knew that wasn't sustainable. We'd hoped they'd figure it out, but we knew that wasn't sustainable. I think over the next 3 weeks, the Reds could find that form of sustainable baseball, winning baseball, that they need to play to get to the playoffs. And this stretch is the biggest stretch of the season, no question.
3 against Milwaukee, 3 against Pittsburgh, 4 in Milwaukee. Huge series to close out the month. Up next, the Bengals, they got sexy this offseason, and it's great value. We'll dive into that next, right here on First Word.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the Working Lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
I think that's a real thing there. But do you think first round?
No, I'm selling that too. I have the same argument that you just made. If he would have gone, he should have gone this year because the quarterback class was way lighter this year than what we're going to see next year. So if you're going to be a first round, if you have a first round grade, why not go this year? It doesn't add up to me.
And also, if Brendan Sorsby at the very least knew he had gambled on college football. We can argue about who else knew or what else. If that's hanging over your head and you go in the portal and you're this big name, $5 million quarterback and all that, you have to have some level of assumption that could come out at some point. If that is in your back pocket and you're getting first, second round reviews, go to the league and not have to worry about any of this thing.
So you don't, and we just heard Pete Thamel say second round. I buy that teams are going to consider second round. First round, too much, I agree. I think second round, especially if they had a first round grade on them or close to it, they will jump at that right now. And some of these teams that either one, have a need at quarterback, or two, have their quarterback, but don't have Joe Flacco, don't have the best quarterback room in the league, or the Bengals go from Burrow, Flacco to Josh Johnson. I mean, it's the most experienced quarterback room in the league. If you don't have that and you need a proven backup, like if Ty Simpson didn't end up with the Rams, let's just say, and that was one of the shocks of the draft, I think the Rams would be in. The Lions think that they could be in. Like teams like that Heck, does Minnesota say, you know what? We really like this guy. We don't have to give up a first-round pick to get him. I do buy that day 2 pick very much in play. I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a second rounder. There's just too much smoke. Too much.
My name is James Rapien, and I host First Word every weekday morning, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Prior to joining The Crown Network, I covered the Bengals for Sports Illustrated for 6 seasons. I also am the founder of Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube and wrote the book, Enter the Jungle, A History of the Cincinnati Bengals. Couldn't be more excited to join you every weekday morning for First Word right here on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
It's time to get sexy here on First Word. Welcome in. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11.
Always open.
Right here on The Crown. I saw the look. See, I did the no look. So I saw it. There we go. All right, there we go. Little delayed there. There was a little delay, but she was on the same page. I'll give you a
We'd
shot.
still be waiting for you to say it.
I didn't say a word.
I'll give you a shot on Thursday.
I'm good.
Ooh, there's pressure's on.
Pressure's
Thursday.
on.
No, I'm holding out now.
Oh, no, you're
Jacoby
not.
Brissett over here.
You're not. Oh, yeah. It's very similar to leverage position.
Exactly. That was the point.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Jacoby Tissot, relax. This is where you can find us, by the way, if you're watching. Live on YouTube, live on The Rock, live on X, Facebook, streaming on Mixler as well. And, of course, you can take us with you wherever you go. Spotify, Apple, Google, right here on The Crown. And it's not just us. No. The Working Lunch, who knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. In Business with Jack Crumley, noon to 1. And, of course, Nat Tries That, The Nat Jones Show, and Rebound Rundown, wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. But let's get sexy here. It's time to talk about Dexter Lawrence. And I don't know if that's going to get old. I'm going to keep dropping that and doing that. So there we go. But Dexter Lawrence, the Bengals, they traded for him. He's under contract for the next 3 years. He's locked in. The latest contract development is really, really interesting with Jeffrey Simmons. We're going to dive into that. But before we do, I thought it was pretty smart to share a clip of Dexter Lawrence. This is his mindset following his first offseason with the Bengals, going into a training camp and a huge, huge season for the veteran lineman.
Good. I mean, it's part of my role, to allow people to understand my knowledge of the game and to grow in that sense. So I think it just happens naturally type of thing. So I'm just excited to keep growing with them and learning.
How much have you felt the energy of this city, of your teammates, since you got here a few months ago?
Well, I don't know if I felt it. They kind of said that everybody else said it changed, but that's just how it was when I got here. So I'm embracing it and I enjoy it. It's just about winning and doing what you can to win and doing what you can to help everybody else around you be successful.
Now that you all are headed out, what do the next 5 weeks or so look like for you?
I'll be like a boxer, before they go in there till they fight. You got to put your head down and train. That's what it's about.
So the next 5 weeks for you are not in any way about rest or anything like that. It's about go time.
Yeah, it's go time. Yeah.
It's go time right now in June.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the process. That's something I've been doing since my rookie year. Around this time, before we get back, I just put my head down and I go to work and get ready for camp.
Dexter Lawrence, look, is a huge acquisition. There's no doubt. You make that trade, it completely revamped and changed kind of the way we view this team, the way we view this defense, their offseason moves all came together, all made sense because they get Sexy Dexy in the building. And part of that was them signing him to a 1-year, $23 million contract extension, which is really team-friendly. And now he's under contract for 3 years, roughly $70 million, team-friendly when it comes to the top of the defensive tackle market, and even more so after what happened with Jeffrey Simmons late last week. He agreed to a new deal that lands him at $105 million over the next 3 seasons. He's the highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL on a per-year basis at $35.3 million. Dexter Lawrence at $28 million. So you look at that and just the difference, and it's just a major, major difference. And I think Jeffrey Simmons, maybe you would say he's a bit better than Dexter Lawrence overall, but he's not the big nose tackle commanding double teams, doesn't have the presence that Dexter has. The Bengals are getting a steal of a deal with Sexy Dexy.
No question about it. And looking at that graphic right there, the highest paid defensive tackles in football, I'm not taking anything away from Chris Jones. We all know how great Chris Jones is. But at this point in Chris Jones' career, I feel like Dexter Lawrence and Jeffrey Simmons are in an echelon of their own when it comes to interior defensive linemen in the NFL. And I don't think that's necessarily too crazy to say. The conversation throughout the whole offseason, if the Bengals were going to add a big-time player, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins threw out Jeffrey Simmons' name at Media Day for the Super Bowl on Radio Row earlier this year. So he's a name that people wanted here in Cincinnati as well and has been a dominant player in the league really since he got here. Now, the thing that I went back to look at was in 2025, last season, he was better than Dexter pretty much across the board in terms of PFF's analytics for interior defensive linemen. But going back to 24, 23, and 22, Dexter was better on the interior, not just run defense, but also pass rush and overall. Having all of that from a 350-plus pound nose tackle versus a 3-tech in Jeffrey Simmons is a game changer on the interior. And the fact that these numbers are relatively similar between the two in sack production and things along those lines, Dexter doing it from a true nose position makes him the outlier that we've talked about since that trade was made. I could not have had this bigger reaction to this extension. I was sitting with our producer, Casey McAllister, when it happened, and our first reaction was, oh my gosh, the Dexter Lawrence trade just got better in June. And somehow it continues to get better throughout the offseason. We know who he is as a player, but everyone talks about the leadership, and now the contract looks even better.
Yeah, it does. Real quick, one quick note just to clarify. I said 1 year, $23 million. It's a 1 year, $28 million extension with the Bengals. Yes, just to be clear. So it's 28, not 23. Still, the 3 for 70, spot on versus Jeffrey Simmons' 3 for 105. And that's where it really comes into play.
No, absolutely. This is the steal of all steals, it kind of feels like, for the Bengals. And because you look at the numbers, and especially with the double team rate, like we said, Dexter drawing the highest rate over the last 5 seasons at just over about a 70%. But Simmons isn't that far behind. He's been double teamed on about 66% of snaps. So it's just no question that these are two of the best interior linemen. It's what's Dexter going to be warranting for that next kind of extension and when those talks start to resurface again, which I would imagine would be after this season.
Yeah, and I think he took that deal with that idea. Guess what? Great. Go be the best defensive tackle in football and be a game wrecker and be challenging Joe Burrow for Super Bowl MVP. Go do it. I think they would love a world where they're like, we probably should pay him $36 million a year. Like, in the sense that means he's so dominant, matters so much for the defense, the impact is felt that much, and they're that good. Like, a lot of things have to go right for Dexter to be able to renegotiate his deal. But guess what? I hope it happens. And if it happens, the Bengals are going to be a really good football team. And so part of the 10th pick and giving up the 10th pick is what you get in return. Like, the Titans wouldn't have taken the 10th pick for Jeffrey Simmons. And let's say they did. Well, he wasn't going to take a 1 year, $28 million extension.
Right.
And so the value in that and getting to a point where you recognize that, because that was obviously a factor during this, getting this trade done, was agreeing to compensation, then the Bengals talking with the Lawrence's reps, talking with the Giants to get permission, but then Lawrence's reps to make sure they were close on a framework before the deal was completed. Huge. I mean, I was already at like an A+, and now it's like an A++, because you're giving them high-end money. I don't want to downplay it. But it isn't like market resetting money. And there's going to be other defensive tackles that ultimately get paid, including that guy in Philly.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to continue to look better throughout the offseason if more extensions come down.
Jalen Carter, to be clear.
Right.
I set you up. I set you up. I thought you were going to be like,
We're going to talk about Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter's dominant. He's great. And he'll reset that market for sure, I think, at his age. But Dexter Lawrence's trade will just continue to get better. And a talking point that happened nationally, I feel like, when Dexter got traded to the Bengals, that didn't happen with the extension for Jeffrey Simmons at all, was a conversation about age. They're both 28 years old. They've both been performing at a high level for multiple years. I've not heard one person bring up Jeffrey Simmons' age when talking about this extension in Tennessee. It was almost all I heard about for a week when Dexter Lawrence got traded here from people outside of Cincinnati. So I don't really know what the difference is there. Maybe it's Lawrence's elbow and people are concerned with the injury, but I don't think the production really leads you to believe that that's going to be a huge problem. So the difference in the way these two have been viewed with very, very similar players has really been shocking for me throughout the league.
Yeah, and maybe the age was brought up more with Dexter, just given that he's going to the Bengals, and we know how the Bengals are when players hit the 3-0 number. We've seen it time and time again. So, yeah, that could be a factor. Maybe that was a point. But no, to what you were saying, it's just their production speaks for itself. And I get it. Dexter Lawrence had the 2025 that he did, but we've talked about it last week on the show where his energy and just the way he has, been participating in the offseason program, what we've seen out of him on the field, in the locker room, it's different. It's like he's almost like been rejuvenated. And yeah, I didn't know him when he was obviously a Giant and in New York, but it just seems like things are trending a little differently now that he's here in Cincinnati.
There's no doubt about it. And so now he's passed the character test, the teammate test, the hanging out with Joe Burrow and eating tacos, all those things. Now he's got to go out there and be dominant. And if he is, then this is going to be a home run trade. And it is that simple because the value's there, the contract's there, the compensation, while it was a lot, it makes sense. Now that last part. And we'll see if he can check that box, certainly, for this Bengals team and this Bengals defense that is really built and centered around him. And we'll have plenty more time to work on our sexy Dexy and make sure we talk about Dexter Lawrence. But up next, we got to talk Reds because the Reds, they had a big series win in New York, and now they have the opportunity to get right against the first place Brewers. We'll preview that series coming up next, right here on First Word.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
They wouldn't be one of the first 10 teams I listed to win this year's Super Bowl, and they have not been anywhere close in the last 3 seasons that have been played. It is surprising to me how much staying power that one win against the Chiefs has had.
All right. Worst word. And here's why it's the worst word. 1, put your fandom away. Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs fandom is nonsense. 2, this idea, Jets, Raiders, Titans, Cardinals, Giants, Falcons, Colts, Saints. If Drew Brees was playing in his prime for the Saints right now, guess what? Then you could compare the Bengals to the Saints. You're comparing all these teams that are hoping, praying, and may all be in on Brendan Sorsby, right? Outside of maybe the Raiders with Mendoza or whoever they had. But my point is none of them have a franchise quarterback. The Bengals not only have a franchise quarterback, they have a guy that Nick Wright apparently likes. No chance do you actually like Joe Burrow, because if you like Joe Burrow, you'd be aware that going head-to-head against your guy Mahomes, he's won more than he's lost. And that's it, is Joe Burrow going up against Josh Allen, Mahomes, insert whoever else you want. He's either won or going to have a really good chance of winning regardless of the defense, which you praised. And I think that's it. Why are all these shows talking about Joe Burrow? Because he is one of the best on the planet. Have they had some down years? Absolutely. But you can't deny that. You can't deny that Joe Burrow is in that conversation with all these other guys. And so, like today, who are you taking? Patrick Mahomes coming off of a torn ACL? Did you watch Mahomes last year? Joe Burrow, when he was out there, was better than Mahomes was last year. I know Burrow has the health issue. Fine. So you could say, yeah, the Bengals are really good, but Joe needs to stay healthy. Well, everybody knows that. This argument that they're one of 3 teams and then comparing them to the Falcons and all of these other, quite frankly, losers that can't figure out quarterback is unfair, because the Bengals have Joe Burrow and they don't, and sometimes it is that simple. First Word rolls on a Monday, because Mondays we roll, because this is really Marisa's Wednesday.
I thought we roll on Tuesdays.
Hump day.
Yep. So technically it's hump day for Marisa, because Marisa has a vacation to get to coming up in a bit. The Reds, should they just go on vacation, or should they actually show up against the NL Central? We'll see starting today against the Brewers.
I'd like if they show up at some point this year. Worst intra-division record in baseball so far. Only 2 wins on the year in the division. And obviously, the poster child of that, the 7-game losing streak to the Cubs and the Pirates that really started this, wretched month of baseball for the Cincinnati Reds. So what better chance to get out of it than 10 games in a row against the division?
Yeah, and they're riding 2 series wins back-to-back against the Mets and the Yankees. Why not keep it rolling and get some dubs against the NL Central?
Can we just play the Central in New York? Mets series win, Yankees series win.
Or just relabel it like AL, because the Reds have a really good record against the AL this season. I think it's like 19-11 or 20-11, something to that effect.
All they got to do is get there, and the World Series is theirs.
For vibes, Gabe, pull up Tito from last night, because for vibes, this is how we started. Because the Reds, they need to get over the hump here when it comes to the NL Central. Clearly, they have New York's number. They just dominate the Yankees. In fact, I don't want to hear about Reds ownership not having enough money, because the Reds own the Yankees.
$300 million payroll.
They own the Yankees.
Like
so if
that.
you own the Yankees, you have enough money, right?
That's right.
Right.
That's
All
right.
So they have enough money. Here's Tito after the 4-1 win and a series win over the New York Yankees.
What he did with it was so good. He sold out for a good fastball and whacked it, and God, that was so needed. I mean, it changed the whole game with one swing, and good for our pitching to make it hold up. You know what? I mean, he's got 96 after 5. Some of that's not Chase. Some of that's the Yankees. There's not a lot of Chase in that lineup. But I do think there are hitters that he's going to learn, get to the bottom of the order, and I think he threw a 3-2 breaking ball to walk the 9. Those are things he'll learn that stuff as he goes, and he is now. But I mean, kept him off the board except for 1. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lineup will do that to you too. That leadoff kid. I don't know how many guys in the league I've seen hit that ball off Chase. That's probably up above the strike zone at 98. That kid's pretty special. Well, somebody needed to go 2 today. I mean, the way when Chase came out after 5, we were going to give everybody a chance, and both lefties kind of ran their pitch count up where it wasn't going to work. So we brought Tony in early with the hopes that would happen, and he did a great job.
Huge outing there for Tony Santillan, and that's one of the many. We're going to hear from Tyler Stevenson in just a second, but one of the many guys that has stepped up over these 2 series stretch now. The Reds have won back-to-back series for the first time since April. Santillan's been consistent, and after that lull there in May, Santillan has been the best arm coming out of the bullpen.
11 straight appearances to start the year without allowing a run.
Yep.
Emilio Pagan goes down, who's your closer, and you paid to be your closer again this year. And the conversation in this office and really all throughout Cincinnati was Tony Santillan can fill that role. And then immediately after he was shoved into the high leverage all the time role, he fell apart. And the month of May was one of the worst months of his career. Well, he's back on the horse, and he's back to being Tony Santillan every time he goes on the mound. 7 straight appearances without allowing a run. Santillan has been great and is back to the point now where there's confidence when he comes out of the pen with a 1 or 2 run lead at the end of the game. And that's what this Reds team has been missing over the last month plus is confidence, both in the bats and in the bullpen. And over this weekend, you had it. At least on Saturday and Sunday, you had it in this bullpen and in this lineup. And the more and more you can see this from these young players taking steps forward and getting to points of consistency, the better and better you'll feel about this team.
Yeah, over his last 3 outings, 4 innings pitched, has only allowed just 1 hit in those 4 innings. And the key part, has converted each one of those save opportunities. So confidence and consistency, 2 things that this bullpen has absolutely needed that Santillan's brought.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We have some breaking college hoops news.
All hoops news.
That we'll get to in 10 minutes. That's called a tease, right? And then we'll dive back into the Reds. But let's stick with the Reds for now. I just want to let everybody know, First Word's going to react to the breaking news if you saw it. And if you haven't, well, stick with us. As far as Tony Santillan in this bullpen goes, obviously it's going to be talked about a ton. But the other part of this, and you know me, lineup, offense, runs. Tyler Stevenson came through yesterday. Sal Stewart on Saturday came through. This is part of the equalizers here, right? Where you can, if you can put up runs consistently, you're going to have a shot, especially with this rotation. And I don't think they're going to be consistent. I don't think they're going to be consistent at the plate. You go so up and down with them. Are they good? Is this lineup good? Some days they will be. Some days they're going to stink. But ultimately, I look at this lineup. If they can just generate the 4 to 5 runs, and you see the rotation there, like 2 of those 3 guys you feel really confident in, but Brady Singer, I'm confident in. Like I think Lodolo's the one that's interesting there as you look at the probable pitchers for this series against Milwaukee. But overall, the only thing that sticks out in any of these graphics, anytime we do them, is the run differential. And that run differential is still barking at me. Plus a 155 run differential between the Reds at -46 and the Brewers at 119.
Not good. Not what you want, especially in the division, but a huge thing over the weekend. We talked about how much the Yankees moving off Garrett Cole on Sunday meant for the Reds. Well, going into the weekend, the Reds were supposed to face Jacob Misiorowski on Wednesday. No longer the expected pitcher for the Brewers to wrap up this series. So huge for the Reds to miss him this go-around. Now, it does seem to be slated when the Reds head up to Milwaukee in a couple weeks, but we'll take the wins where we can get them right now. The Reds are going to have a chance to win these games against the Brewers in terms of missing their best arms and having some guys that you believe in on the mound there. So I think with Lodolo, the question is what version of Lodolo are you getting? We've seen good ones since he's come back from the blister, and we've seen bad ones. So I think that is truly just a shot in the dark.
Yeah, that's a big question mark. I'm excited to see Brady Singer out there. I know you're a guy. You've been singing Singer's praises, but no, back-to-back outings where had 2 quality starts, got the win in his last outing up against the Mets, but you look at his numbers against the Brewers kind of all-time. Brewers batting about 270 against him, but the one I'm kind of keeping an eye on, Jake Bauers, 7 at-bats against Singer. He has yet to record a hit, has 3 strikeouts in those 7 at-bats. Of course, Bauers, it has just been off on a tear for this Brewers team this season, leading them in home runs with 13, has a 270 average, one of the best stats lines to start a season for him in his career. So if Singer can do what he has been able to do against the Brewers and especially hold Bauers in check, just gives the Reds a chance here.
Fingers crossed.
Look at you.
You got like a month till the trade deadline. Build up some value.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the singing his praises thing is a bit much. I want him to sing, and he's starting to. He's hitting that do-re-mi. But that's it. Just do-re-mi.
You seem confident on him.
I thought you were about to go.
I can.
You can't.
Oh, I
but
can.
But you would.
It wouldn't be good.
Right.
I will never claim to be a good singer.
Okay.
I can sing.
Physically.
Like, capable of singing. Didn't say it would be pretty.
All right. Make sure we're all on the same page.
No, yeah. There's no voice anything that Dave Cudahy can do to make my voice sound good from a singing standpoint. I mean, you could debate just talking how it sounds. So you're not going to hurt my feelings there. I wasn't. You thought I was like Justin Timberlake or something?
The Do-Re had way more song to it than the Me did. You were going and you quit.
Well, yeah, because I'm trying to save our audience. I care about them. If it was just us three, I would be singing.
We know.
Because I'm not going to worry about hurting your ears as much. Our audience, it's way different.
That's good.
That's why Marisa needs to take time off, is to take a break from all of the talking that's going on. All right, so Reds Brewers, huge series. And we'll dive into how important this is in the grand scheme of things. But this 10-game stretch, 7 against the Brewers, which is just it feels like a mountain to climb. But Elly De La Cruz feels like he's going to get back tomorrow. How big of a boost are you expecting from Elly? Let's set expectations for Elly specifically before we dive into the specifics of the series. Because Elly De La Cruz on the field matters always. Not sure how close he is to 100%. If he's 100%, it's a soft tissue hamstring injury, and he's a fast guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that he's going to make a massive impact on this team. And whether that's in the form of a bunch of runs and hits over a weekend or over a series, I'm not entirely sure. But having him out there is going to change everything for this team just on a day-to-day basis, I think. And knowing that he's going to be at the top of your lineup, knowing that he's going to be at shortstop defensively is going to take so much off everyone else's mind. And I think just having the lineup that you expect or getting closer to having the lineup you expect makes everyone feel more comfortable going into the toughest stretch of the season so far. Now, it's not the toughest stretch remaining on the Reds' calendar, but it's certainly one that will define the season, or at least the summer and the time before the trade deadline, to determine whether they go all in or if they sell. And if the Reds are going to take some wins here and win some series that they're not supposed to, then Elly's going to be a big part of that. So I think whether it's production, which maybe it's not early, I think he can affect this team in other ways that make having him back a huge, huge thing.
I'm with you. I think he's going to have a huge impact just being back in the dugout, in the clubhouse. And again, he doesn't have to play short every day. He can DH. His presence in that lineup, it feels different. It allows things to be moved around. Again, Blade can drop down to the 4, 5, 6 spot. Because McClain, he's been playing a good short.
Yeah.
So, I have no problem, easing Elly back into the everyday short. Just, want to make sure you're approaching this with a little bit of caution because you don't want any kind of flare-up or any kind of setback with the hamstring.
The only thing I would say semi-concern level there, if you're easing Elly back into shortstop, does that then remove McClain and Arroyo from the options to send down when you activate Elly?
Then who else is it?
That's what I mean. So I think you almost have to play him at shortstop when he comes back. If not every day, I'm not saying that. You can have Steer play second every now and then and move some stuff around. But if you're just going to DH him for a week when he comes up, which I'm sure they would love to have that opportunity, I just don't think the way the roster's set up right now necessarily affords that to them.
I don't think they'll do that. I mean, he played short in AAA.
Right.
I don't think he's going to come in and DH for a week. But I'm saying he doesn't have to play short 3 or 4 games in a row. You can give him a little bit of
in the
off days.
The days part of it.
Yeah.
Space it out where you have a day here, a day there, where he's either DHing or he's off, because you don't want this to become a thing.
Right.
One more tweak and it's a thing. And it doesn't take much. We saw it. The hamstring, you can aggravate it really, really quickly. So we'll dive into the Reds more coming up in a bit, including Elly De La Cruz, including how important it is to get a series victory against the Brewers, 10 straight against the NL Central. But up next, we have some breaking news and a special guest that will join us live in studio right here on First Word.
Cincinnati, Ohio. We welcome you from Cincinnati, Ohio. Nick had with the fan favorite to put it away. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Oh, what a catch. The Cincinnati Reds scores and the Reds win.
What's your weirdest pregame superstition, routine, or habit?
Okay, so before our team warm up, I go out to warm up myself, and I'll have my headphones in, and I'll start at the goal line and I'll walk to the 30-yard line and back. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day, but sometimes I'll do it 5 times, sometimes I'll do it 15, sometimes I'll do it 35 times. Like I don't even know like why I do it. I think it's like getting like a feel for the atmosphere, feel for my cleats. But like the number, like it's different every single time. So I don't know. I do it every single game. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason. I don't even know when it started. But it's just like I just walk back and forth. I'm not stretching. I'm just walking. So I'll say that's probably like my weirdest superstition.
Would you rather play offense for a game or coach for a game?
Offense for a game. That was like my natural position growing up. I was a running back and a receiver. Then I got switched to linebacker, and I wanted to quit football my freshman year of high school. So I feel like that offensive, mind is still in my body somewhere deep down there. But also coaching it seems a little stressful. So I'm like, yeah, I'd rather just be on offense and give me the ball.
What is one thing that you are irrationally competitive about?
Pickleball. Oh my gosh. I actually just played it like last night. That is, if I'm not working out like for football or training or doing some type of stuff football related, I am at the pickleball on the pickleball court or playing golf. Those are like my 2 things. But I would say pickleball. That's my thing.
Which one of your teammates talks the most trash in practice?
Oh yeah, Uno, Jamar. He does not. I love him, but he does not shut up, and but it makes.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Boy, oh boy, do we have some breaking news here on First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show. And
whoa.
Paul Fritzner's in the building of the Rebound Rundown. Let's go. Let's go.
How are we?
How you doing?
Well, I'm stunned is what I am.
Dusty May, the national champion of the Michigan Wolverines. Well, he's not trying to compete with Dan Hurley anymore. He's going to the NBA.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was sitting upstairs. He's going to the Dallas Mavericks. I couldn't believe when I saw the tweet. A reigning national champion head coach. He saw that a couple of years ago. Dan Hurley got courted by the Lakers. Was he going to go to the NBA? There have been rumors swirling around college basketball for a while that Dusty May had interest in going to the NBA, that maybe he was eventually going to take the step and was going to go to the NBA. But we're sitting here on June 22nd. It felt like that ship had sailed already and that he wasn't going to go to the NBA this year. But, Shams and Pete Thamel and Adam Schefter, the trio there of college basketball reporters for sure, reporting that Dusty May is going to go to the Mavs. And, I mean, it's crazy because now you're at a point where, they passed the rules so you have 2 weeks to transfer if you want to. But I don't know how that works with NIL. Do any of these guys that already signed, have they gotten any NIL payments that they're required to stay at Michigan even though they are allowed to leave? How does that all work in today's day and age? There's a lot of dynamics going on, but to lose a coach like this, look, I know this just happened 15 minutes ago, so I'm going to say this, and then in an hour I'm going to be like, what was I saying? This does feel like one of the just most stunning pieces of college basketball breaking news. I'm not going to say ever because
It is.
But maybe
it's
ever.
up there.
It could be. This is beyond stunning.
Mark Stein reporting, and he's longtime Dallas Mavericks reporter and NBA reporter, that they convinced him. So this had been going on forever, but convinced him to make the leap at this time. There's no way Dusty May said, hey, on June 22nd, I'll make my decision. The Mavericks must have put the full court press, the extra year, the extra money, whatever it was, to get it done.
Yeah, and they had a top 5 roster going into next year. This is not like Michigan, won a national championship, lost everybody, and then he was saying, well, I got to rebuild everything, and I got to try to get back. Michigan was going to be a national championship contender again. They were going to be a team that could repeat next year. This was not some, one and done type of deal with Michigan where they were just, great this year, they were a powerhouse, and then next year write them off. Mustafa Cham from Cincinnati, an anchor there in the front court. LJ Kaysen, you were waiting on that injury news, but you were bringing back a ton of talent from last year, and you're adding a ton of high-level talent this year. Crazy that he's leaving this behind, but he's going to the NBA.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be one and done for Michigan. Now we can hope that maybe it is. What do you do at the head coaching position there? This side of the desk absolutely is in on the one and done Michigan national championship nonsense. But where do you go now that May's gone at the head coaching position?
Do you go back?
Sometimes, Paul.
You got to go back
to go forward.
Jawan?
Jawan seems probably
they're not going to go to Jawan Howard. But I don't know. Like, usually this is one of those things when news like this gets reported, it's so-and-so is going to so-and-so team, expect so-and-so group to be candidates.
Yeah.
You didn't see any of that in the last 20 minutes where it's expect that,
Is it internal hire to get us through? I mean, it's June 22nd.
With their roster. And
that's the thing. If you want to retain this level of a roster, do you have to go internal because it's guys that
that's what I'm thinking.
Help get them there?
Yeah.
Or
is it the other way?
The other way where you go some really high-level external hire and you try to bring in some other big name to retain that and give those guys an incentive to be there. I don't know. I really don't know what they do.
What would the big name be? Like, I'm just trying to think.
If this happened 2 months ago, the line for the Michigan job is out the door.
Well, and you also think Dusty May was a name that was highly regarded for the Kansas job of Bill Self, because there was all those rumors that was Bill Self going to retire this past offseason. Was this going to be his last year at Kansas? Dusty May was at the top of Kansas's list to replace Bill Self. So now, if you're Kansas, right? I mean, Kansas is going to be the same way. They'll have a long list whenever Bill decides to retire. But still, it's like for John Shire and Dusty May, two of the most prominent names in college basketball, to be the finalists for the Dallas Mavericks job, and for one of them to take it. I mean, imagine, I'd have been sitting here with the same reaction if John Shire had taken the job.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's Dusty May and he's the national champion.
Billy Donovan?
Oh, if he went back to school... Billy went back to school.
I'm thinking big name.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because if you're Michigan, that's the conversation you're having now. And then if the answer is no to the big name,
they should be able to get anybody. They should, with this roster and where they are right now, they should be able to get anybody. But the problem is they're not going to get anybody in the college rank. You're not going to be able to go out and just lure.
You can't go get Wes Miller right now.
Well, surely not. He's committed.
Locked in.
He's got a team built already.
I know. National champion.
National champion. Well, an American champion.
This comes about 2 months after a month and a half after Masai Ujiri was hired as the director of basketball operations for the Mavericks. He's the one that built that Raptors team in 19 with Kawhi. Is this his Kawhi-esque big swing move to try to get this core up? Obviously not a player, but just as surprising, I think, as that trade probably sounded.
Yeah, credit to the Mavericks for being able to get this done at this stage in the game, because when you're trying to put together, obviously on the NBA side, who can you go get? Can you get somebody in college? Can you get somebody that can do that? And to have John Shire and Dusty May be your two top candidates, and to get one of them on June 22nd, I just can't believe we're at this point in the cycle and that's who they got.
Like with the Mavs, I mean, obviously Dusty being in the college ranks for so long, sometimes it doesn't work out when you have a storied college coaching career. Doesn't always translate to the NBA. Do you think, just what he does for a team, is that going to translate and be successful for the Mavs?
Yeah, I do. I think Dusty's the type of guy that you've seen the way his career has progressed and how he's gone from every stage of his career at every stop he's been at and the success that he's had. He just does seem like the meticulous type of guy who will have success at the next level. But there is always that risk, and that's why a lot of these guys, they know it's a bird in the hand, right? You're in college, you have a national champion, you have a team that's going to contend again for the national championship. You're a king of the. You're also something to kind of keep in mind about Dusty, and there's been debate about this back and forth. I don't have any relationship with Dusty. I don't know him. I've never met him, but there's always been reports of Dusty not wanting to be the number one guy at a basketball school. Like, he chose Michigan over like in Indiana, where he's the one that's in it. Now, I know Indiana's coming off the national championship, but in general, like Indiana or Kentucky, one of those schools where you're a spotlight as a basketball school. That Michigan, you're obviously playing for national championships, but football is what drives the bus at Michigan. Now you're in NBA, obviously. I mean, you are the spotlight there in Dallas now. It's just, I think he'll have success with the Mavs. I think he's the type of coach where just the way he is and everything I've heard about him, his work ethic, the way he kind of carries himself, I think he'll have success. I'm just stunned that he's doing this right now.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg. It's got to be a major draw. Like, hey, we have a star player now.
Well, and honestly, the Shire part too, with like Flagg being there, playing for Shire. Like, you're trying to recruit a coach, and Shire comes down right to the end with Dusty May. Shire, the same deal. Maybe he doesn't want to take the leap right now. The other thing is Shire hasn't won the big one yet. Right. You know, Shire was there at Duke, won as a player, probably wants to win one as a coach at Duke before he leaves. Maybe that's the thinking there for John.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's part. So let's just say Michigan gets their list. Can they go after any current college coaches? Like, what rules-wise that you're aware of? This just is really unprecedented.
I think they could if they wanted to, but like, yeah, it's
just
like
a lot to it.
It's going to be hard to sway a coach right now in the middle of June when you've asked your donors to put together, tens of millions of dollars worth of an NIL roster, and now all of a sudden you're going to leave everybody high and dry in June. For Michigan, Michigan's a great school and a great spot and a great program right now, but it's not Duke, it's not Kansas, it's not Kentucky. Maybe you can get there, and it is in the Big Ten, but I don't know if you're going to get the pick of the litter in June. You would have in April.
They're going to call Brad Stevens.
You got to make him say no.
I've already seen the Photoshop. I've already seen it. That was the last thing I looked at before we went on.
I heard the Bucks are asking for Brad Stevens back from the Celtics for Giannis.
Sure, why not?
Got to make him say no.
Got to make him say no.
But I think that's the question, though, is
Jordan
where can
Howard,
you even...
Wes Miller,
what
Brad
a list.
Stevens.
Beeline, obviously.
Oh, and Beeline.
But the question isn't just about the coach that they could go for.
Don't make that joke. I covered his Cavs tenure.
Electric Cavs tenure.
Made a great basketball.
He did make a great basketball. But the coaches, obviously, who can they have to fill that role is a huge question. But what Paul said originally about the NIL and how that relates to the 15-day window here, can these players even leave? Is it a player-by-player basis, or do we just not know?
The players can leave.
NIL-wise.
NIL-wise, that's what I don't know, because I don't know how they're contractually obligated to Michigan. I don't know what the University of Michigan did to obligate those players and their payments and however it's structured at Michigan. This is a much different day and age than if this had happened in June of 2018.
Yeah.
It's June of 2026, and it's completely different because in that day and age, the players could have gone wherever and it would have been fine. Now, you could still go wherever. I mean, Mustafa Cham's going to be on the market, but is he allowed to leave, or does he have to give some of that? Maybe just have to give the money back.
Probably.
Has he already spent the money? I mean, like, how does
so now you have to offset it.
Yeah,
it's an offset it with where you go next.
For sure.
And if I'm him, I want to reopen it. Who knows who gets hired?
For sure.
He didn't sign up to play for the Block M. I don't know. Those days of playing for logos are out the window. He signed up to play for the defending champion Dusty May.
Yes.
And now he's not anymore. And I think a lot of those players now are going to be searching for a way out potentially.
For sure.
Or it's going to be, hey, let's find the guy that's going to make the most sense, the coach that's going to make the most sense, that fits, and you guys are still getting paid.
Yeah.
Like, Mustafa Cham's getting paid, man. They got the Brinks truck backed up, so it's all right.
I imagine a level wants to win, too.
They should still win.
The thing we'll figure out here soon is whether...
Relax there,
It's just a
Ohio
different
State.
level
Relax
than
there.
expectation.
The Wolverines are going to be all right in hoops.
They got like 3 players I won on Alabama's team this year, so
I'm
already thinking portal.
It's a tie.
All I know is the University of Cincinnati is far closer, so you might as well just come
Closer to what?
to Michigan than Alabama.
Geography? Pure geography? Yes, geography. Okay. I thought you were saying closer to a championship.
Well, after the Michigan Wolverines come to town,
Yeah, I mean, couldn't even imagine Mustafa Tiam in a UC jersey.
No.
That would certainly get you to the tournament.
Wes. All right, go. Go.
No, what I was getting off the rails here. What I was going to say. I have no idea. Pull the string. Here we go. The thing I'll be interested in is to see how much heads up Michigan had, if any, in
planning
over the last couple.
I hope a lot, right?
Over the last couple of days, it's like, did they catch wind? Well, sometimes they don't though. Sometimes in a college game like this,
you have to do it the other way.
Sometimes you have to
There's
just
a chance Michigan found out when we did.
Or
like close to like exaggeration.
Like this morning.
This morning. Like that Dusty walked in there this morning and informed them like
the first time Mavericks was said in that facility was I'm taking the Mavericks job. Like that's my guess.
There's a chance that happened.
Scrambling.
Now, if he let them know a couple of days ago, then they could at least start to put together an interest sheet of, hey, does so and so, where are we here? And good athletic directors always have a list of possibilities, but that list changes when it's
for June
22nd.
Yeah, June 22nd.
That list is way different than if it's the Tuesday after the national championship.
I mean, how far out now are we into the summer, into the offseason, after you shut this door on May potentially taking an NBA job?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I don't know when Michigan started, but just in general, I mean, they could be this Monday, June 22nd, could theoretically be their third Monday of their summer program. Like they could be 3 weeks into their summer workout program already. But college basketball is a year-round sport now. It's not like the old days where you went home and you came back in the first week of school, you'd worked out with your personal trainer for the summer. Mm-hmm. Like these guys have been in Michigan's facility for the last 3 weeks potentially. And now here we are. They have to play for a new coach.
The Mavericks let go of Jason Kidd a month and 3 days ago. I looked it up because I couldn't remember. It felt like months and months ago. It was only a month and 3 days ago. And so they said, you know what? We're going to go. And they went big fish hunting, and they got their guy. I mean, that's a big, big fish.
Yeah, I can't believe that the finalists were, as you said, Shire and May, both somehow equally as surprising if they took that decision. And if it comes down to those two, you think it is Shire wanting to win at Duke?
I think
not taking the job with Flagg? Because if Shire's ever going to take an NBA job, this one seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, I think if Duke had won the national championship this year, that feels like a job. Like, it feels like it would have
just made so much sense.
Dusty would have stayed. Shire would have gone to Dallas.
Jason Kidd to Michigan?
That's the one name I'll rule out that we've said so far on the desk.
I was just saying, hey, they just flipped. They swapped. There we go. Switch gears.
Why not?
NBA champion Mike Brown to Michigan.
Wow.
Oh.
Put the dogs back in.
Best coach in the league. Make sure you check out, speaking of dogs, this dog, Paul Fritchner, in the Rebound Rundown, wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube. Up next, we'll talk Reds. We'll preview their series against the Brewers and much, much more as First Word rolls on right here on The Crown.
Emotionally, spiritually, like I love football till the death of me. Like this is I don't say it's what I feel like it is what I'm called to do. But last year it was hard. It was extremely hard. Like it was days where, like I said, like I'm in the building at 6 a.m. drawing up plays, preparing for the Miami Dolphins because they have a really complex offense. I'm just like, dang, I cannot figure this out. Because like they do a lot of stuff with their fullbacks, and like I said, I've never seen a fullback in my life, and up until last year. So last year was the hardest year of my life. But thinking about like where I am right now, it's like I said, it's night and day. But like I'm so confident because of what I went through last year, and like I would go home like last year. I'm just like, dang, like this is tough. But like I'm trying to be a leader. I'm obviously not trying to show that to the guys, like, because I love playing football. I love where I am. I love being in Cincinnati. I love the guys that I get to go to work with. But it was a long year. And I just try to show up every single day with the right mindset and, be the leader that I was brought here to be. And but it was a tough year. But thinking about this year, oh my gosh, I literally I have a smile on my face the whole time I'm in the building. And that's gonna. I know it's easy to say in June, but I'm gonna have that until February. Truly, I'm so confident this year, so much more confident. So it's gonna be fun. Still have a long way to go, but we're trending in the right direction.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot with you alongside James Rapien. This is First Word. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11.
Always open.
Right here on The Crown. There's another delay there. There's 3 delays in a row.
Well, you're looking straight at the camera. I don't know if you're coming to me or not.
Yeah.
There's a couple times you haven't come to me.
Just saying. I don't know. All right. This is where you can watch, by the way, live on YouTube, listen live on Mixlr, and, of course, streaming on X, Facebook, and every single day on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Speaking of The Rock, check out The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley every single weekday, noon to 1. Also, The Nat Jones Show, Nat Tries That. Rebound Rundown with Paulie Fritchner, PDF, who joined us to talk about Dusty May going to the Mavericks with the Rebound Rundown. Wherever you get your podcasts, let's dive into what is a big, big series for the Cincinnati Reds. Buy or sell that Reds Brewers will make or break the Reds' playoff chances this season. This 3-game stretch is going to make or break it.
I'm selling that. I am selling that, just the 3-game stretch. I think this 13-game stretch could make or break the Reds series, but there's so much time before the All-Star break to make up a bad series here. Now, it would kill momentum. 2 series wins in a row. I think winning this series could really be a catalyst for the Reds moving forward through the rest of June and into July, but just losing this series alone, I don't think it's a death sentence for the season, though it might feel like it come Wednesday.
I am shocked we are in agreement here. I thought for sure you would be buying this. Look, I'm also selling to that point. I don't think a 3-game stretch is a make or break for the duration of the season, but this is a massive stretch for this Reds team. They have to start stacking wins against the NL Central, and I feel like they have a good opportunity tonight, as we just saw on the graphic. Brandon Woodruff going to be getting the start for the Brewers. He's been on the injured list since April 30th with right shoulder inflammation. He, of course, missed the 2024 season due to right shoulder injury as well. So he had 2 minor league rehab starts out in Arizona, had about a 6 ERA. So definitely someone that the Reds could get after tonight.
Yep.
Need to jump on them, get to 3 games, a 3-game winning streak, get some momentum, get some confidence against the Central. Because here's the thing: these streaks and they struggle against these teams. It doesn't become a thing until it does, and by now it feels like it is. It's much like to me, it's like Bengals Browns, where it's like, why do the Browns play so tough, and why is it? And the Bengals have tried to convince themselves, like, oh, it's just matchup, and everybody deals with the Browns, and everyone struggles to score. Like, no, you guys look way different every time you play the Browns. If you're the Reds, at some point you need to play the division better. You just need to go do that so you can believe you can do it. And the dismissiveness, not that they're being dismissive, but you can only shrug it off for so long. And so it is time. I get it. The Brewers are awesome. They have a crazy run differential, and they're great, and they're in first place, and you're 9.5 back. Okay, well, go show them that you can compete with them. They need to get at least 2 out of 3 in this series.
It's not that I'm saying the Reds need to beat the Brewers every time they play them. I think at one point over the last 3 years, the Reds should have been able to beat the Brewers. And that's why it's becoming an issue for the Reds, is it doesn't matter if the Brewers are playing like they're playing right now, or they're one of the hottest teams in baseball, or playing like they were in the middle of last year, where it was really falling apart for them on the pitching staff and led to a relative sale at the deadline. You still sweep the Reds, or you beat the Reds, or whatever it comes down to in the series. The Reds have to show that they're able to play with these teams. So far this season, they haven't been able to play with the Cubs or the Pirates or the Brewers. At some point, you got to throw your hat in that ring and compete with the Central.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We will obviously have you covered tomorrow at 7 a.m. Win or lose. Speaking of win, USA obviously dominating in the World Cup. Let's take a look at today's World Cup matchups here. And look, we're in the group stage here. Look at all of those matchups. And today at the bottom there, France and Iraq. You got Norway and Senegal, Argentina and Austria, and Jordan versus Algeria.
Yeah, some great matchups on deck. And as you can see with the standings, U.S. just a handful of teams that have already clinched moving on, joining Germany and Mexico. So intrigued to see how the rest of group play will end up finishing out.
Yep, no doubt about it. But it's just fun to advance.
That's right.
Fun to advance. Yes. Dusty May to the Mavericks. If you missed that, Paul Fritchner joined us to react to what it means for Michigan and the college hoop scene. Check that out. Check out everything you missed by subscribing on YouTube. And for the entire First Word team, Marisa Contipelli, Jacob Tissot, myself, James Rapien, thank you so much for watching and listening to First Word.